going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and we are here today for a brand new Madden 20-year rebuild of the Washington team of football. And as requested by you guys, we're taking on a team that has had a bunch of names during this time period, from the Washington Redskins to the Washington football team to the Washington Commanders. At this point in time, Washington was a really bad team. They still had some fun players. Santana Moss. Chris Cooley was always sick at tight end. They were just at the beginning of the career of Hall of Fame tackle Trent Williams, the guy that works on Madden. Ryan Kerrigan was in his rookie season. Had London Fletcher, Brian Orakpo also on that defense. Same goes with D'Angelo Hall, who was such a monster. And a safety duo, Lauren Landry is an all-time Madden safety. And shout out, there was a point in time, there was a 99 rated Canadian in the game, OJ Atagwe. Now, I went through a very, very annoying task of trying to get accurate ratings, because ratings in Madden 11 don't really equal the ratings that are in Madden 26. So not everything was a like for like. Taking a look at our team here, we have Sexy Rexy at quarterback, our running back room, Tim Hightower, Roy Halou. We do have Santana Moss as a 90 rated. We have Chris Cooley, 89. We have an offensive line led by the great Trent Williams here at left tackle. The defense has some really, really fun players. Obviously, Kerrigan, 74 with a superstar dev. Brian Orakpo, 88 with a superstar dev. I believe Kerrigan has the very accurate face scan as well. But the reason why I believe the Washington football team is so highly requested, we already did Andrew Luck with the Colts, and the next logical move is the other quarterback that was forever connected also is deserving of a career revival, of a career redo, and that is RG3, Robert Griffin III, now a hot take artist on social media. But would you believe it, that a former NCAA football game cover athlete was actually pretty damn good at football? I don't want to age myself. RG3 was electrifying. If you never saw RG3 at Baylor, if you never got the hype of RG3 coming out this season, I feel bad for you. This was... And not to make it sound like it's a lazy comparison, but this was Lamar Jackson, MVP season Lamar Jackson, the hype that he had as a player and what he was able to do on the field. That is what everyone thought RG3 could do right out the gate as a quarterback. And he would have been an easy lock, undisputed #1 pick if he wasn't going up against the greatest quarterback prospect maybe of all time in Andrew Luck. And RG3 looked the part. In his rookie campaign, this guy, as an Eagle fan, absolutely terrified me. But unfortunately, injuries and maybe injury management ended up ruining his career and never allowing him to reach the pinnacle. And that is exactly the type of history that we're going to recreate here today. What if the Washington Redskins Commanders football team wasn't a joke of an organization during the Dan Snyder era? What if they actually maximized the talent of RG3? What if RG3 could have stayed healthy? What could this franchise achieve? That is what we're going to do over the next 20 seasons. So with that being said, though, this is some video series that you guys like to see. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment. Help the old video here with the YouTube algorithm by comment what team you guys want to see next. It was overwhelming to do Washington. Who is going to be our third 20-year rebuild? Please let me know down below. The rest of the draft for Washington in 2012, well, this is the year Kirk Cousins was a thing. They doubled up on quarterback. We're going to navigate those waters. They got, a couple like Tom Compton was a good journey offensive lineman. I think he played over 100 games. We have Geddes, Lariberis. Keenan Robinson was like a 100-tackle linebacker for a little bit. Alfred Morris might have been the gem of all gems in this whole class for the running back position. He ended up having a really nice career for Washington, so I'm kind of hoping, the rating I'm expecting is probably not going to be that great. We're going to have some pretty big development there, but he's going to have an opportunity because our running back room kind of sucks. But I think the revival of RG3, what if he lived up to his potential? And then also, we have probably something pretty good here in Kirk Cousins. Can we kind of parlay that into something else, something big down the line in terms of trades and talent acquisition? Only one way to find out. Let's get into year one here in the 2011 season. The last piece of housekeeping is talking about our challenges and how the draft works. We have got to follow the exact draft picks that happen every year from the 2012 draft all the way to the 2025 draft. All of the real classes that happened, we have got to do the exact same thing the Washington football team did. However, if we achieve a challenge, which may be something I just create based off of maybe what happened in real life for that season, or we use Grok to come up with something, if we hit that challenge, we can flip one of our bad picks. We're going to use Josh Laribis as a selection. He was our third-round pick. Obviously sucks. We're going to be able to, if we achieve our challenge, we look at some of the teams that we beat during the regular season. Every team that we beat, we could steal a third-round pick of theirs instead of getting Laribis. Or whatever round it ends up being, we go with a bust, terrible pick. And as long as someone that we beat had a good pick in one of those rounds, we can essentially steal that pick. Now, our challenge here for year one with the Washington team, for the Colts, it was to secure the #1 overall pick. They were terrible that year, and we were able to go get Andrew Luck. However, a little bit different circumstance here. Washington had 5 wins, and they ended up trading 3 first-round picks to get the #2 selection from the Rams to get RG3. We kind of need to follow along with that. That is part of the challenge here. That is part of the history for Washington, is trading all those picks to get RG3. So we're going to make that trade at the end of the year, which means our win-loss record doesn't really... I want 6 wins, something not too difficult. This team got 5 wins in real life in 2011. Give me 6, and then we'll trade all of our picks to get the #2 selection. 6 wins, and we can flip one of these bad picks into a good one. I think something else that needs to be worth noting is, it is an iconic coaching staff that they had during this time with Washington. They had Kyle Shanahan, you had Sean McVay, you had Mike McDaniel, Matt LaFleur was also there. So something that we could keep an eye on throughout the history, as well as maybe tapping into that coaching staff, say if this scheme doesn't necessarily work out the best, but we're not neither here nor there. Let's just get our 6 wins this year, upgrade a pick, get RG3, and start recreating some goddamn history. All right, win #1 comes in week #1. 5 more to go. Going to our bye, we're 3-1. We are smashing this goal. So on that player contracts here, we have London Fletcher, ageless wonder. This will be just a wait and see. Obviously, if he doesn't decide to retire, we'll certainly pick him up for a contract extension. Adam Carricker was always fairly solid. We have an insane amount of money. So any kind of really good talent, unless it's like surplus. We got Corey Lichtsteiner at guard. I think that could probably be a 3-year deal. Probably do a lot worse. His ceiling's probably into the 80s. Fred Davis, but we have Chris Cooley at tight end for the next little bit, so I'm not overly concerned about that position. I think Rocky McIntosh is good cover to have, especially if it's only for a 2-year deal. Locking him up for the rest of the prime, and if London Fletcher retires, at least we have someone serviceable running the middle of the defense. Got Sexy Rexy at quarterback. I mean, we know what we're doing at QB. I don't really like OJ Atagwe at 3 years. But there is a little Canadian bias in me that's like, you could do probably... I think there's an element, we have so much money, and because we have to follow kind of the set draft classes, I can't just go pick whoever we need based off of depth chart needs. We really should be trying to retain our really, really good players for the first couple of years of this rebuild. We're going to learn as this series goes on kind of the meta of how we should handle things. Free agency for the first couple of years usually is kind of bad. Then it picks up probably year 4, year 5. So let's try to retain as much homegrown talent as we can for the first couple of years of our 20-year rebuilds. So with 2 games left to go, we got 5. We need 1 more win between the Vikings and Eagles, 16-17. There we go. We got it. Beautiful. It's not a great record. 6-10. Exactly right on the cusp of what we needed. But it is a check mark for our year 1 challenge, which means we get to upgrade one of our picks from one of the teams we defeated. Statistically speaking, here in our first season, Rex Grossman did a job. 3,500 yards, 24 touchdowns, 14 picks. It's not great, but could have been worse. I've seen plenty of quarterbacks in offenses as bad as this. More interceptions than touchdowns. It's not super uncommon. Our run game was not great. Santana Moss at least kind of ate here. 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns for a very underrated receiver. Anthony Armstrong was solid. Jabbar Gaffney, the veteran. Chris Cooley had a decent campaign. Defensively, London Fletcher, LaRon Landry. Look at that year from LaRon Landry. 146 tackles, 3 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, 4 picks, 9 sacks for the rookie Ryan Kerrigan, 8.5 from Arakpo. Didn't really get a whole lot outside of that. INT numbers also not the best, not the worst. I don't know about that. I think probably did enough to get... It's a little bit of a robbery. So what I am going to do with the draft order here, I think to make it easier, I think well, I'm pretty sure anyways. The compensation that Washington gave up to go get RG3 at pick 2 would probably get us pick 1, and it's not like Andrew Luck has to go pick 1. So I think just to play it safe, to control our destiny in this draft, we will trade up to the #1 overall selection to get RG3, but we will be giving up 3 first-round picks plus whatever additional was in that trade. From a dev trade standpoint, Santana Moss went up to a superstar dev. Defensively, we had, I think Hall goes from star up to superstar. Perry Riley from normal up to a star. LaRon Landry from a star up to a superstar. Fletcher from superstar up to an X Factor. Hopefully he doesn't retire and we can bring him back for 1 more year. Now, even more bad news here is of our 6 wins, 4 of them were from 2 wins against the Cowboys, 2 wins against the Giants. And would you believe it, Giants and Cowboys had horrific drafts. But we have Dallas's 3rd round pick, Terrence Crawford, the Canadian. He could be kind of decent. I got to wait and look at the draft class. But he is certainly one of our options here to flip for Laribris. The Vikings. Oh, the Vikings had 2 first-round picks. They traded back up in the 1st round to get Harrison Smith. I looked at that. I was like, could we cheese some way, bend the rules so we can get Harrison Smith as like a 2nd rounder? We can't do it. So the only other real option, oddly enough, the team that in real life we traded 3 first-round picks to the #2 pick is the St. Louis Rams. In the 3rd round had Trumaine Johnson, who was a pretty solid corner, all things considered. I'm just going to, when we get into the draft, between Crawford and Johnson, whichever one looks the best, that'll be the player we steal in the 3rd round. But not a great year. Doesn't really feel much of a reward, but it's the nature of the beast. We would have handled business as Carolina. We could have stole Josh Norman. If we would have beat the Jets, could have got Demario Davis in the 3rd round. That would have been probably the best pick we could have got. So in free agency, I really wanted a center and a guard. We got Ryan Wendell, is just solid, right? We're at the mercy of, like, I can kind of look ahead at our next coming drafts and what positions we need. We're not getting a center anytime soon. The one that stung for sure was wide receiver. We are not, we got to, when we're recreating this thing, we got to get better players around RG3. It wasn't just RG3's injuries. I think roster management, the drafts during that RG3 era weren't particularly good. I went heavy on Pierre Garçon. I definitely offered more money than other team to get Pierre Garçon in. 26, 77, 95 speed would be an excellent get. Actually ended up with Washington. Couldn't make it happen. Brutal. I'm very confident that RG3 won't go 1st overall. The Dallas Cowboys have the 1st overall pick. I do not want Dallas having 3 firsts. So I'm going to go after the 2nd pick and trust that this is going to work out. So Dallas takes Justin Blackmon. Awesome. Congrats. Enjoy that. Oh, great. Glitched. Supposed to walk out here, but there we go. RG3. Let's go. Yep. Look, let me get out of the way. Those were his actual stats as a rookie in Madden 13. Yep. So take a little look-see here at our draft recap. And not much. Definitely there's going to be a challenge here. We have Alfred Morris, 64 with a dev trait. Upside there, but we definitely are going to have to put him an opportunity to maximize said upside. He has 85 speed, was always a power back. So I got a ways to go there. Kirk Cousins, 66 with a dev trait. I don't know how quickly he's going to develop as a backup. We will have him be one of our focus train players with an intention of trading him eventually, but right now it doesn't really have a crazy amount of value. Like you would assume redoing this, you can flip Kirk Cousins for a future 1st round pick. Probably won't be able to do that, and I'd be more inclined to trade him for a player at some point, but we do have him on the roster there. Trumaine Johnson, a 70 rated, no dev trait. Again, it was a pretty bad year and bad role for us in terms of stealing away picks. Trumaine Johnson did have a good career. I'm surprised he made a Pro Bowl. In 2015, he had like 20 PBUs and 7 INTs and got a huge contract in free agency, but kind of was just like, always a little underrated. But still, 70 overall, it could have been a lot worse. But as far as like getting a reward, doesn't feel like it. Our reward is this man right here. We had to pay for it. We lost a lot of picks. But under better circumstances, what we could accomplish with RG3 here. Looks like he's wearing a backwards hat. That's cool. I mean, the skill set is ridiculous. 95 throw power, 88 deep, 85 mid, 93 throw on the run, 92 break sack, 93 speed, 90 acceleration, 96 agility. If he could have stayed healthy, could have went to a better team, better ran team, we could be talking about a Hall of Famer in real life in a different reality. But we're going to try to create that reality here in Madden. We get into year number 2, our 2012 season. We are going to play our NFL debut of RG3, but taking a look at the draft class that we have upcoming, Not terrible, not the best. I mean, David Amerson was a solid starter, low-end starter. Jordan Reed, when he was healthy, was an electrifying tight end. Shout out Florida Gators. Chris Thompson was pretty dang good third down back. So it's not a terrible class. But, you know, you could definitely say this Phillip Thomas selection probably could be a sweet spot. Rambo, Jameson. There are options to upgrade. Our challenge this year is to make the playoffs. Washington made the playoffs year one of RG3's rookie campaign. I think they had a 10-win record. I think they were 10-6 that season. I'm not going to tie a record to it. Our team, I think, is going to have some issues. We're not probably a bottom 10, bottom 12 roster. So I don't care what the record is. Just make the playoffs and we achieve our goal. Alrighty, let's see what we can do. Open a drive, Dallas scores. Gonna need a shootout. We'll come in on a 3rd and 1 early. Love to see how this team performs from a, base sim standpoint. But at the end of the day, it's about RG3. And actually, I was kind of looking at this season. So Alfred Morris is like a late round pick. 1,600 yards rushing. I remember Alfred Morris being pretty good. Didn't know he was that good for, I don't even know what he was. What was it, a 5th round pick, 6th round pick, something like that. So that's pretty cool. RG3 had like 900 yards rushing. That will be something that's probably not going to be perfect. I don't think we have an offense. Ooh, we have an athlete, but I don't know if we have breaking ankles. I don't think we have a sim offense that's going to have crazy quarterback scrambling numbers. But there's RG3's first career touchdown. Take it off. And we're able to tie this one up at 7. Yeah, falling behind Dallas. See if the sim can kind of get us a touchdown right back. And we have to settle for a field goal, and we give up nothing going into halftime. Go ahead, score, open a drive of the second half. Got to remember, at this point in time, the Washington football team, Redskins, whatever we want to call them, super coaching staff, right? Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay. You know what I'm saying? I think that'd be the move if I was going to... I'm probably just going to try to run in here with RG3 again. If we were to, say this scheme just doesn't work out, I think the logical one would just be to, internally promote... Oh, actually, we got Santana Boss! McVay. I think McVay's offense with RG3 would probably look pretty good. And we are tied up at 24. And we're going to overtime. Let's go win this right now. Give me a shot play. Now, I am thinking, when I was doing the Colts Real with Andrew Luck, I think I was also thinking, before I even got the feedback from, we got it opened up, from you guys, that this was the next move, just because it's that whole class. The starting point that we have for this mod, RG3 is in that first class. It makes logical sense to kind of do this scenario. I don't know who the next team should be. I don't know. It doesn't have to be someone connected to this year, obviously. I've seen a lot of people say maybe Philadelphia, just to do Eagles. Right bumper. Ooh, we're going to need a toe tap. Over the shoulder. That is in field goal range. RG3, 300 yards. And we're about to make it 4 touchdowns. Chris Cooley. Leonard Hankerson. There's a name I haven't heard in a minute. We'll go underneath here to Armstrong. Oh, he throws a stiff arm. That's an NFL debut right there. 9 more of those. And we should be able to achieve our goal of making the playoffs. What a debut. RG3. 4 total touchdowns. 3 through the air. 1 on the ground. The future is here. Suck it, Tony Romo. I don't know, Jim. Suck it. Goddamn right, NFL debut. RG3 gets Offensive Player of the Weekend. Kudos where it is. Andrew Luck ends up on the Cleveland Browns. And both rookie quarterbacks dominate week 1. Not too bad of a start at all. 4-2. I'll tell you right now, we lost to Detroit. And that would have been, I'm going to be starting to be a little conscientious of, if we win the challenge, what teams, players. We would have beat Detroit. They had Darius Slay. They were one of our 2 losses. That would have been a great pick to potentially steal for our secondary. But every other week, we're just handling business, and we can't really worry too much about that. We have to achieve the challenge, just get the wins, and hopefully there's someone else. So a guy actually I was able to sign off the street was Pecco right before the start of the year at defensive tackle. Obviously pretty solid, but then he's coming at me like with this shit. No, thank you. Not for that much. I have a lot of money and still absolutely not. Lorenzo Alexander, in real life, he was actually coming off of a Pro Bowl season this year. I forgot he was a Pro Bowler before he got to Buffalo. I thought Buffalo's where he kind of peaked. I also signed this guy, Troy Kropog, at tackle. He actually looks fairly serviceable for the time being and younger than Jamal Brown. So we'll get him on a 2-year. We'll get London Fletcher as long as he wants to keep playing 1-year rentals. That is fine by me, but I imagine there's not much left there. For everybody else, I think... we could probably continue the career of Grant Gano here, get him on a 4-year deal. CFL All-Star Brandon Banks. A lot of speed there, but we gotta raise the floor of our wide receiver room a little bit here. All right, so the bad news is we actually finished with a worse record than Washington did in real life. They had 10 wins. We had 9 wins. I thought, honestly, losing to the 49ers was going to cost. I didn't really care too much about the pick gained. I don't think we're really going to have like a huge upgrade pick for the second straight year if we hit our challenge. But if we lost, we were probably going to lose Jordan Reed because we tried to take the most punishing L as humanly possible. And I didn't really want to lose Jordan Reed. We didn't come first in the East. Luckily, everyone kind of sucked. Like the North is like 9 and 8 wins. Same with the East. Same with the South. Like this might be like the most competitive NFC ever. Like, everyone but the Niners was just kind of like, okay. We end the campaign. We got 10 upgrade points for Alfred Morris. He got it the last week. We got 32,000 XP for getting 1,000 rush yards. So we're going to dump all those points into elusive back, which, it kind of sucks because he's not really an elusive back. But those are the house rules. We'll do that in just 1 second here. Look at the actual team. How do we play? Ooh, Santana Moss, second leading in receiving. Look at that, 19 touchdowns. He absolutely, RG3, 3,900 yards, 35 touchdowns to 2 picks as a rookie and a superstar dev trait. I was expecting superstar dev trait. It could have been star, I wouldn't complain, but I think the hype of RG3, like going back in that time and him and Andrew Luck coming out as rookies, both superstar, minimum. Like, that's how hyped these guys were. So that's kind of cool that we get a little bit of a head start on RG3. But it's fine. And if he was a star, absolutely would have got that dev trade anyways. We had Kirk Cousins. I had him in the extra training all season long. So he's now up to his 73. Might need to be another year having him in one of those extra training spots. And then we try to trade him. Like, if we could trade him at like a 76, 77, like above a 75, I think that's where he's most valuable. But we'll check every offseason. We get 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns for Alfred Morris. For a non-scrambling scheme, not terrible rush yards from RG3. 1,400 yards, 19 touchdowns from Santana Moss is sick, but man, oh man, we've got to build up this wide receiver room. Jordan Reed is going to be a godsend. Defensively, honestly, I'm probably going to put Jordan Reed in the slot and have Chris Cooley just start at tight end next season. Unless we get a wide receiver in free agency. We have a tackle machine, London Fletcher and Lorenzo Alexander. 7.5 sacks, Pecco. 6 from Kerrigan. 5 from Arakpo. Those are not great numbers. D'Angelo Hall with 4 picks. Man, remember when D'Angelo Hall, all due respect, man. Growing up in my infancy as an Eagle fan, he was a baller. But remember there was like Hard Knocks and he like talked shit to DeAndre Hopkins and then got like maybe the worst... like, you got owned, I think I've ever seen in any football clip in my life. Like, literally, like, I think he talked shit to DeAndre Hopkins, and then DeAndre Hopkins broke his ankle so bad, I think he, like, tore his ACL. Like, it was, I don't know, I could be misremembering that a little bit, but man, oh man. At least he's good for us now. All right, this is the timeline we're in, I guess. Sick. Also, RG3, top 5 MVP voting as a rookie. Santana Moss gets Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. RG3 runs away with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Alfred Morris there at number 2. Just ignore, that's not our Kirk Cousins right there. RG3, all-time single-season passing touchdown record. Alfred Morris. Oh, wait, that's fake Alfred Morris. Okay, now we're getting a little, we need 2012. This is very confusing, but the records we have set this year, RG3 passing touchdowns in a single season, and Santana Moss 19 touchdowns in a single season. As well as, obviously, rookie season, RG3 for both of those categories. Gotta make the playoffs. You might as well try to beat a divisional rival on the road. We get the 10-7 Philadelphia Eagles, who were led by LaShawn McCoy and Michael Vick. I mean, expectations aren't particularly high. I'd be happy to just get that first playoff win together as a group. Let's see. Year one, RG3. The Commanders made the playoffs that year, and they lost. They were one and done. So, while we did not equal their record, if we can get at least one playoff win, we've done better than they did in real life. It's going to be tight. Oh, it's going to be tight. Touchdown, 2-point conversion. Oh, that might have been it. That was where we could have took a lot of momentum back. Hey, we're just starting. I hate our team right now. I hate the makeup of our team. So it's going to take a little bit for us to get into a pocket. Happy with our regular season, progress. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, so sick. Santana Moss retires. Cool, great timing, bud. Thanks. So that's it from a depth trade standpoint. Well, I mean, I don't know. He didn't really have a crazy year. But Alfred Morris didn't go up depth. We have our RG3 superstar, Kirk Cousins star. Chris Cooley up to a superstar. So it goes back to my point. With Jordan Reed coming in this upcoming class, we might keep Cooley at tight end and put Reed in the slot. Let's just be honest. He was listed as a tight end, but he's a glorified slot wide receiver. Defensively, from a depth trade standpoint, D'Angelo Hall goes from star up to superstar, I believe. I'm not gonna lie, I'm recording this rebuild over multiple days, but everything else remains the same. Our goal was to make the playoffs. We barely did it, but we still made it. The player we're going to steal, we're going to switch our second-round pick, David Emerson, who's a solid pick by all means, but in the second round, we are going to steal away Kawan Short, a very talented defensive tackle of the Panthers. The star-studded free agency class. 3 kickers, 2 punters, and a fullback. Let's go! I thought about not acknowledging this because, I'm not going to say it's cheesy, but it's certainly random and very fortuitous for us to have this. We need wide receiver help out. I was like, all right, Johnny Knox is pretty good. Work my way up. Really don't want anyone over like 26. Cole Beasley, but my plan is to get Jordan Reed. We'll put him in the slot. We have Jermaine Kearse. Somehow he's a superstar dev wide receiver just sitting here. 23.69. Come on down. I thought about not acknowledging it, but when I look at the next, just out of curiosity while you're here, do you guys know the next good wide receiver the Commanders drafted? What year? How long we have to wait? Well, I'll tell you right now, it wasn't 2014's draft, wasn't 2015's draft, wasn't 2016's draft where they got Josh Doxson in the first round, wasn't the 2017 draft, wasn't the 2018 draft. We would literally have to wait until they drafted Scary Terry in 2019 until we would have like a legitimate wide receiver one for our quarterback. Now, obviously, we can sign free agent stuff like that, which I think in this case, for how dire this situation is, I have no qualms. No, we're getting it. I'm getting that. So, we got a long ways to go. No, if dev trait can only get you so far. We have to develop, but there's a nice layup for a team that has maybe drafted the wide receiver position worse than any other in the NFL over the last 20 years. We did not have a first-round pick, but we select, he had a face scan. That's pretty cool. Kawan Short, number 40 in true value pick, 53, dev trade defensive tackle, interior pass rusher. Honestly, a position to need more so than bringing in another corner right now. Usually only like to show off the face scan ones, but that's a good get too. So take a look at a draft recap from a pick standpoint. Well, there we go. There's our first below 60 going to Brandon Jenkins. No idea who that is. Bakari Rambo, Philip Thomas, Chris Thompson comes in. Very nice athleticism. 93 speed, 97 acceleration. Going to be a great receiving back. Instant third down back. Great compliment. Worked out well off of Alfred Morris. Kind of a smash and dash. We have Jordan Reed, who I still think I'm probably going to go with the plan. Chris Cooley at tight end. Him as our slot wide receiver. And the addition of K1 Short. That's a very, I don't want to say necessarily generous rating, but very happy he's a 75 overall starting out the gate. A little bit older than a rookie at 24 years old. Don't know how accurate the ages are on these classes, but big time position to need, man. We need that. We let Pekka walk in free agency. He's going to be our day one starter as well. Look at our team is geared for year number 3. We are really going to need Jordan Reed to step up. We got Kearse, another guy. Really, these are the two. All eyes are on them for the passing game. Massive shoes to fill. With Santana Moss just retiring. Love to see Alfred Morris continue his development, and obviously RG3 just Just be yourself, man. Defensively, work in progress, but the D-line looks healthy. Kerrigan, Arakpo, and Kawan Short. The linebacking core is good. LaRon Landry's still a beast. Hall is peaking at the right time, aging like a fine wine. I definitely think playoffs should be our expectations here again. And really, when RG3 is in the state that he is right now, we should be making the playoffs every year from here on out. Our draft class, and I will give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't have a first-round pick for these next couple classes before we do. Overly overreactionary. Trent Murphy was, a solid rotational guy. Morgan Moses developed into a hell tackle, was just playing in the Super Bowl. Bashad Breeland was a pretty decent corner, all things considered. So not a complete wash. I don't think there's going to be too many draft classes that are as bad as those early Colts draft classes that we did in the last rebuild. But we definitely want to achieve our challenge. I'd love the second-round pick upgrade over Trent Murphy, or really any of these late-round picks. Moses, Breeland, probably the only two guys that I think we can kind of count on from this draft class. So for a challenge, win a playoff game. Very, very marginal. Not really going to start drawing from IRL too much from the Washington Redskins at this time. So let's make the playoffs like we did last year, but this year, get that dub. Well, mid-season, everything looks decent, right? Number one rushing offense, didn't see that coming. Number one defense overall, really didn't see that coming. But then how do we have all that and we're 4-5? And we were 2-5 before we got 2 wins here before our bye week. So that's definitely not adding up, but whatever. Here we go. Contract, LaRon Landry. I don't love the years on that, but I mean, even when he regresses, he's still going to be pretty good. Chris Cooley, just don't love the years on that, but we are not in a great spot for wide receivers, so we kind of need him here so that we can still have Jordan Reed at wide receiver, slot, whatever you want to call it. Perry Riley's solid. Take it or leave it with him. He does have a dev trade and he's 25, so you do want to kind of try to keep those players together as long as you can. As long as London Fletcher does not want to retire, who are we to turn down a franchise legend? I signed Brian Anger off free agency for our free agent punter here. Just a little upgrade, get him on a 3-year deal. I think we'll come back with Perry Riley. Not too much more, though. I'd probably go to 17. Anything other than that, best of luck. Oh, that's great. Lose a challenge early on to show that we just don't pick easy ones that we automatically get. Well, just to get that out of the way, who's probably the best pick? We should probably be losing Morgan Moses. I mean, big picture, there's not that S-tier player that we absolutely need. But Morgan Moses, I would have been plug and play, probably right tackle for most of this rebuild. So that is certainly kind of annoying. You know what I think we're going to do? 6-11. Our rankings aren't bad. Offense and defense, pretty solid. But you know what? Mike Shanahan, instead of going with his son, has decided that perhaps listening to another coach on staff here offensively, same tree, not reinventing the wheel, staying with West Coast zone. Maybe McVay has some better ideas. But our sense, RG3 regressed, so I definitely think getting him in a new scheme sooner rather than later is going to be the most beneficial. 28 touchdowns, not bad. Goes over 30 with his rushing, but 16 picks, too high. I don't think we're going to... I don't think, but the fact that we might even have to say, could he lose his superstar dev trait off of that type of season? It'd be hard to complain if he did, based off of that year, but I think it'd be a little bit harsh this early. Morris was solid, though. Really good. 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. That's pretty awesome. 2,000-yard receivers, just barely, but it still counts. Jermaine Kearse over 1,000 yards, and the rookie Jordan Reed over 1,000 yards. That got to put him right in Offensive Rookie of the Year hunt. Defensively, London Fletcher leads the team in tackles. Again, 9 sacks. Barry Cofield, 8 from Ryan Kerrigan, 7.5 from Arakpo, 6 on 9 TFLs for the rookie K1 Short. Not bad. Could be worse. Could also be better. Jordan Reed does win Offensive Rookie there, so he's on a star dev. That could increase. We have Travis Kelce on the Seattle Seahawks, DeAndre Hopkins on the Carolina Panthers. Defensively, K1 Short making the top 5. Honey Badgers on the Bucks. Cool. A lot of sucky picks for us to look at as we go to this episode. Morgan Moses, our 3rd-round pick, needs to get stolen. So, pick of the litter, I'm taking D-tackle Jay Bromley from the New York Giants. Shout out all the Jay Bromley heads in chat right now. Looks like a stud. So to go to our offense, good news, did not lose and have any regression on RG3. Gained the superstar on Jordan Reed for winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Very nice. Defensively, we have K1 Short. Goes from star up to superstar. Hall goes from superstar up to an X Factor. However, we unfortunately lose the superstar in LaRon Landry, who we just gave a contract extension to. Not much in this free agency class, but happy that we can get Max Unger, 79 rated center for the final 2 years of his prime before he starts regressing. So take a look at our recap. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Spencer Long being a 71 and Ryan Grant being a 69, generous ratings. Gladly will take that. I think Spencer Long did play. I don't even do the guesswork. I have the notes here. Spencer Long, 67 games in the NFL. That's, somewhat respectable. Same with Ryan Grant, played a little. Rashad Breeland being a 70 is nice. All normal devs though. Not a good class. Definitely need to hit our challenge next year to add some juice to this roster. I think it's time though for Kirk Cousins. He's 26, 79 star dev. This is it. I don't know if there's going to be a higher peak for us to sell. I have no idea what we can get for him. But I'd love a wide receiver. I'd love a right tackle. I'd love a D tackle. I'd love a safety. So just going from the open market, there's 3 that look interesting. One's Cordell Patterson, 80 star dev, a 3rd round pick. It's kind of the meat and potatoes there. I feel we could do better. The Colts are offering Mo Claiborne, who's an 85 star, 24 years old, and a 4th and 7th. We have the Seahawks offering Doug Baldwin, 82 superstar. We just get the Seahawks wide receivers. We get a 2nd and 6th round pick now. Can't use those picks, right? Because I have to draft the exact picks that we got. But I'd be able to flip that future 2nd for something else and get a 2-for out of this one. My argument would be, let's find a player that's worth a 2 and a 6 and throw that on the deal with Doug Baldwin. I'm gonna try Star Latulele, 24 years old, 80. He's normal dev trait. So, still a somewhat limited ceiling. But I need D-tackle help. And if you want a franchise quarterback, you'll meet me. Oh, what? All right, we're able to go to our backup plan. Jonathan Cyprien, 78, has a dev trait. Buried behind Cam Chancellor there on their dev trait. We need another safety with OJ Atogwe. Really just, he's regressed to a point where he's only on the roster still because he's Canadian. So, good doing business with you, Seattle. Well, maybe he doesn't have a dev trait. Okay. Makes it even more fair. Let's go to year number 4. Here's a look at our draft class. Not a bad class. Not a good class. But far from a bad class. We have... Let me get in here. Let me get in these menus. Why is it not letting me move? Let me move. Let's see if I do this. Wait. Oh, all right. For some reason, my controller... It's not working. That's fine. We're going to do it with a mouse. We got Brendan Scherf, 1st round pick. Would love that selection. Would love to have him anywhere on the offensive line, be it a tackle or guard. Preston Smith had a pretty solid 70 career sacks. So that's something we can work with. Jamison Crowder, we talked about there's not really a great upcoming history of Washington wide receivers. He might be the best until we hit Scary Terry. He'd be a pretty awesome slot wide receiver to pair that. Probably can naturally move Jordan Reed back to starting tight end, and we obviously have the Seahawk wide receivers, Washington wide receivers, and Doug Baldwin and Jermaine Kearse, both superstar devs, kind of work with that. But I'm definitely thinking here in these picks, if we could hit our challenge, that would be a really, really nice upgrade. I'm going to be honest, going to lazily just say the challenge this year, get back into the playoffs. You know what? No, I like being creative. Because we have McVay now running the offense, I want a top 10 offense overall as well. Playoffs, top 10 offense. And we get to upgrade a pick. So at our bye week, we are a number 8 offense, so top 10. We're in a good position. We're 5-4. Our record's not great, but we are right in the mix, tied for first place in the NFC East. Looking at our contracts, we have Brian Arakpo looking for a 3-year deal. We'll get him back on a 3-year deal. Even though the production hasn't been great, and we're kind of really out of spot in the rebuild. Where else are we going to be spending this money? I think outside of this, Kropog on a 1-year. There's if we hit our goal, my plan is probably to move Brendan Scherf to right tackle. So I'm going to gamble that we are going to hit our goal. I want to be confident that could actually happen. We'll get London Fletcher back on a 1-year deal. See if he can play till he's 40. But for Everybody else, I think we're good because while we have a very good salary cap situation, once we have to pay RG3, that's going to be thrown out the window. So at the end of the season, it looks very good, gentlemen. We go 12-5. I had high expectations for the Sean McVay offense. Did not expect number 2. I wanted top 10. I would have been over the moon with number 9 or number 10. We're number 2 with a top 5 passing offense, so we are tapping into RG3. We made the right move, the right decision on the right coaching staff. Defense, top 10 overall. Looking at our stats, no one in the top 3, but just outside that. RG3, 4th in yards, 2nd in touchdowns, 39 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He is up to a 92 overall, even though we are upgrading all of our points in field general because of the house rules in the rebuild, where we need to make players scheme fits. Alfred Morris was solid, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. Got, again, as we navigate this Shanahan playbook, not really ever going to have big scrambling quarterback numbers, which is fine. We want to use him as a passer. Jordan Reed in the slot, good. Freaking God. 102 catches, 1,300 yards, 19 touchdowns. I'm going to be annoyed when we move him out of the slot next season, make him a full-time tight end. 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns for Doug Baldwin, a.k.a. that is what we got for Kirk Cousins. Happy with that production. 7-5 for Jermaine Kearse. Chris Cooley was solid as well. Defensively, London Fletcher continues to be a tackle machine. We actually got a pass rush going on. 14.5 sacks on 16 TFLs for Arakpo, 10 sacks Kerrigan, 9.5 for K1 Short, 7.5 Barry Cofield. And our INT numbers aren't too bad. 4 picks, Trumaine Johnson could get off that normal dev, and Hall had 2 picks. Got it in actually a defensive player of the week, 2 picks and a pick 6 here in week 18. Taking a look at the player awards. Wow. The rookies and where they went. Devontae Adams is a Buck. Mike Evans is a Ram. And on the defensive side of the ball, Aaron Donald goes to the Falcons. How come every time we do a rebuild, Aaron Donald comes to our conference? Huh? Well, we really won the Kirk Cup. Cyprian, who just got thrown in, wins deep. How the hell did he win DB of the year? Can we see if we can make this make sense real quick? What? I don't even remember seeing his name here on the stats. Cyprian. 141 tackles, 3 TFLs, 3 sacks, 3 picks, 9 PBUs, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, that's a good year. I mean, you know what? That's not a bad year. I've seen worse DBs win the award, but that's like kind of middle of the month. We'll take it. We'll take it. I thought when I made that trade, he had a dev trait. He almost certainly will get one now. We got ourselves a very, very tough matchup here in the wildcard round. Got the Saints, and they are almost a 90 rated offense. They got Drew Brees. They got all those guys, Jimmy Graham, Mark Ingram, Marcus Colston. Our defense needs to show up. But we are the home team, as you can see with the old branding in there. Saints score first, but we need RG3 to be inspired by the fact that he might have got robbed out of an MVP award. Let's get our first playoff victory together as a group. Our goal is only to make the playoffs, but I'd love to get a win and act like I can just change it. Like, actually, our top 10 offense and to get a playoff win. Tied at 15, 3 minutes to go, end of game drive to put it away. It's a touchdown. Usually you get a field goal there. But we get our first victory of the RG3 era here in the playoffs. 22-15 over a damn good Saints team. That is definitely one of the more difficult teams you can run into on our side of the bracket. RG3 was good. Yep, very efficient. Jordan Reed, cheat code right now in the slot. Might also just keep him at the slot. Maybe we got to find another tight end to bring in. Oh, it gets harder the division round. We get Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. That is a lot of green. Top 5 offense, top 10 defense, number 1 pass defense. Oh boy. We could really go for Aaron Rodgers just getting old and regressing and retiring any point soon here from the NFC side of the bracket. Green Bay scores first. It's going to be a tough one at Lambeau on the road against a juggernaut Packers team, but we're gonna I think we have the offense to stay pace. I don't know if our defense, especially that secondary, is good enough to shut these guys down, but I think our offense, we can throw haymakers, and that's kind of been the case. Every time they've scored a touchdown, we've gone down and scored a touchdown. But we gave Aaron Rodgers too much time. Give up a field goal. That is a very bitter loss for RG3 and Washington. 31-28. The offense did everything. The defense I mean, you can't let Aaron Rodgers go for almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns with the championship game on the line. RG3 played well, 2 touchdowns. Alfred Morris, Jermaine Kearse, Doug Baldwin chipping in defensively, sack and a half. Ryan Kerrigan, K1 short getting involved. But you can't have just one PBU and it be our run defending linebacker and expect to beat Aaron Rodgers on the road in the playoffs. Now to end the season, we have a couple of retirements. Starting linebacker Lorenzo Alexander, starting linebacker London Fletcher, starting guard Chris Chester. All have hung it up, so we got to go replenish that. As far as depth chart is concerned, on the offensive side of the ball, we gained X factor on Jordan Reed. Very much deserved. I mean, he almost had 20 freaking touchdowns, so that is sick. I guess the real question is, do we move to full-time tight end, or do we just keep him as like a hybrid? We lose the superstar on Jermaine Kearse, but I mean, that was a fortuitous free agency signing. Doug Baldwin is our real superstar. Defensively, Arakpo goes back to an X factor. Hall's an X factor. Cyprian, double dev trait. Let's go. Dev trait, I assume, the star dev based off of stats. The superstar dev, DB of the year. We got 2 superstar players for Kirk Cousins. Very nice. And we also got a dev trade on Trumaine Johnson, first pick that we stole. You know, hey, great year. And let's go take a look at the team whose pick we're going to steal. And this one is so freaking easy. You guys know, if you're a Washington fan, Martell Spate, a linebacker, 5th round pick. You know what that is? Well, looked around. We had an option to potentially get Todd Gurley from the Rams instead of getting Brendan Schiff, but I think that offensive line pick would be pretty huge for us. Grady Jarrett, 5th round pick for Atlanta. Also could have been potentially good, but I think the move needs to be, above all, we could actually, no, because our 2nd round pick's Preston Smith, and I kind of want Preston Smith. I feel like he'd be a good prospect. Because we have the 2nd round pick of the Vikings, Eric Kendricks. And with losing our 2 linebackers here, Lorenzo Alexander and London Fletcher, that could make some sense. But for me, the value pick of all the value picks, and I think I'm always trying to chase a dev trade here, Vikings 5th round pick, Stefon Diggs. That's who we're taking. Because, yeah, I feel like Kendricks might be, like, the best in terms of plugging and playing a new starter. But, like, Riley's solid enough. And, we got to get one linebacker in free agency. But when you look at wide receiver, especially with Kearse already regressing, if we're going to move Jordan Reed full-time to tight end, which you probably should, Baldwin is fine on the outside. Kearse, 82 star. Like, that's a real good wide receiver 3 if we go out and get Stefon Diggs to be our wide receiver 2. And I kind of think this whole rebuild is around maximizing RG3 the way that this team maybe failed him in IRL. And I think that's the best way to do that, is bring in Stefon Diggs. We are going to decline the 5th year option on RG3 so we can get ahead of a $500 million extension next season. For free agency, just get a couple rentals, couple veterans. Evan Mathis at guard, because the plan will be to get Brendan Schiff and move him to right tackle. And then we got Desmond Bishop, a scheme fit linebacker. Was a tackle machine for earlier a little bit with the Packers, I believe, back in the day. He'll be our 1-year rental to take over for London Fletcher. All right, so to go to the draft recap, I have to trade for Stefon Diggs because literally it wouldn't let me make any of my picks. Every time I tried to make my pick, it said my draft clock was expired, and then I kind of just made the picks, and everyone counted except the Stefon Diggs selection. So we'll make that work. We have Stefon Diggs. Other than that, I like the ratings. Brendan Schiff, 78 with a dev trait. And we're going to just right now, without moving any ratings or anything crazy like that, you, sir, are a new right tackle. Thank you very much. That's going to be a good get. Him on one side, Trent Williams on the other. Preston Smith, 72, normal. Kind of hate that. He is going to be an edge rusher, though. We're not going to keep him at Sam. We'll put him probably on left side because Arakpo would start declining before Kerrigan. And he goes up to a 75, but still a normal. Matt Jones, 68. Jamison Crowder, a 73. No dev trait, but that's a healthy get for the wide receiver room. And, Jarrett, 69. Not bad rating, but let me go find Stefon Diggs real quick. I found him. No one got him. He is mine, and he's a superstar. He is mine. All right, bring it back for year number 5 as we kick off the 2015 regular season. Our team's looking pretty good. I'm going to get to the challenge before we get to the draft class. I want RG3. This man here is the loftiest, most difficult challenge we've done between our 2 rebuilds. Because we've done, win the Super Bowl when we've, kind of made the Super Bowl or made the championship game. We're right there. I think for this to be retelling the story of RG3 and the what if he was pretty good. What if he lived up to the potential from Baylor? My goal for year 5, win the MVP. He looked pretty damn good last year in his first year on the McVay offense. I think he can do it. And there is pressure because our draft class sucked. And a double whammy is these classes every now and again. Obviously, we've done 25 draft classes, 20 of which have been retro draft classes. And there's sometimes be a player or two that's actually drafted that wasn't in the class. Easily the biggest omission, Matt Ioannidis, who actually was a pretty solid player. Like, I was looking at the Washington draft, I was like, oh, that guy could actually start for us. Not in this class for some reason. So outside of that, we have Josh Doxson, who's one of the biggest first-round bust wide receivers the last 20 years. Sua Cravens, he was in and out of the league. Kendall Fuller is probably the best. Like, that's going to be the guy that we play for if we lose. Someone is going to be stealing Kendall Fuller away from us. But win the MVP and we can maybe get a better first or second round pick. That would be pretty huge. Also, shout out Nate Sudfeld, the man single-handedly responsible for Philadelphia being able to draft Devontae Smith. So mid-season, we are 5-2, but better than the 5-2 is our performance. We have the number 1 offense in the league. RG3 is absolutely killing it. I would say on track to be in the discussion for MVP. I think we're second in touchdowns, second in yards overall, so that's pretty good. 20 touchdowns in 7 games is pretty good. We got a weekly player. Yeah, it's RG3. He is popping off. He is thriving in this scheme and system, so that we feel pretty good about. Looking at our contracts here. All right, here's the first of, it's almost another different rebuild now that we have that contract on the books. We're going to get Trent Williams locked up as well into just, obviously he's still playing to this day, so 6-year deal makes a lot of sense. Here's where we're going to kind of get screwed because we don't get Stefon Diggs, but I think we'll get the extra years over his rookie contract, which saves us some money. Ryan Kerrigan, we'll get him on a 3-year. He's been, he's been a guy. We'll get Tremaine Johnson's developed nicely. D'Angelo Hall at 31. I'm not going to be spending that money elsewhere, so we'll get him back just on a 1-year rental. Alfred Morris is kind of our running back. We'll get him for a 3-year and keep him for the rest of his prime. That's a really reasonable and affordable contract. I think outside of that, I mean, I wouldn't hate Evan Mathis back on a rental. He shouldn't regress too bad, and he gives us, it kind of completes the offensive line a little bit. Everybody else, though, I mean, I wouldn't. Max Unger. I don't think we're getting a center anytime soon. There we go. Now we're broke. So throughout the regular season, we are 12-4, great record, big time record. We just beat the Cowboys on a 2-game win streak where RG3 went for 5 touchdowns. Did have a turnover, but 5 touchdowns is pretty badass. We finished with the regular season here against the 12-4 Chiefs. Could be a Super Bowl preview. Unfortunately, we lose, and at 12-5, that potentially, I don't know if we would have the tiebreaker over Detroit, but if we would have won, we would have been in the conversation for the 1 seed in the first round bye. Now we get to play the Eagles. And the Eagles are really good. But we're also really good. Look at all that green. Offense, all green. Defense, top 5, at least in terms of points allowed. Statistically, RG3 was good. 37 touchdowns, 7 picks, 4,100 yards. Another 200 on the ground. That's could be MVP. I've seen worse stat lines win MVP, but we're probably going to be on the line of achieving our challenge or not. Alfred Morris was good. Stefon Diggs over 1,000 yards. Jordan Reed over 1,000 yards at tight end. Just under 1,000 for Doug Baldwin. 8 touchdowns, not bad. Jermaine Kearse, I mean, he was always just kind of a cheesy free agency pick. Not too worried about his development. But as long as our big 3 are eaten, and they all had a really solid seasons defensively, tackles look pretty good. 12.5 sacks Kerrigan, 10.5 K1 short, 10 from Blackbo, 7 from the rookie Preston Smith. Perry Riley getting after it. Tremaine Johnson. That contract extension is aging very well. Cyprian's been an incredible get in that Kirk Cousins trade. But shout out Tremaine Johnson. That's a hell of a view. That could be a dev trade, getting him up off star to superstar. We weren't even close. I'd rather be 4th than 2nd. We weren't close. So unfortunately, we're going to be losing Kendall Fuller as we fail our challenge for year number 5. Quickly looking at offensive rookie, there goes Amari Cooper beating out Stefon Diggs. Cooper on the Lions. got maybe interesting name. Mariota on the Giants. Defense really goes to Quan Alexander. Leonard Williams on the Bears. Vic Beasley on the Bears. I mean, consolation, I guess. We do win quarterback of the year. Oh, that would have been a good award. That would have secured the dev trade increase. Second place. Well, we don't have a good pick to play for, so let's win a Super Bowl. We are just entering RG3's prime, and I'd like to think 2 Super Bowls should be our target with a quarterback of his skill set. At minimum is 1. We have 0 points in the first half. This a joke? We're going to run a naked mile and get shut out in our first playoff game. Okay. So looking at dev traits, we lose a superstar on Doug Baldwin. It's not great at all, but Brendan Schriff is a superstar dev on the offensive line. I think that's probably borderline a generous dev trait, so we will take that. And I mean, it does, Baldwin's part of the trade, but Stefon Diggs is now kind of like our homegrown player. We probably want him to become wide receiver 1 sooner than later. Defensively, from a dev trade perspective, we have Perry Riley goes from star up to superstar, Cyprian superstar to X Factor, and Mr. Johnson. That contract extension aging incredibly well for myself. He is now a superstar dev corner. So for losing our pick, our 3rd round pick, Kendall Fuller, our best value pick, we're going to be losing him, and I'm going to take the Niners corner, Will Redmond, 3rd round pick. Whoever that is, sick. Happy for us. So we're going to try to make the most of this draft class. Obviously horrific. I think we're at a spot with a roster that one bad class is not going to set us back. We get Keith Marshall, who's always a fun Madden running back. Always was really, really fast at Georgia. 97 speed. Could potentially make that work. This Redmond guy that we got for losing our challenge is horrific. Josh Doxson, as athletic traits, didn't really develop as a receiver. Could just be a depth guy. But I think Stuart Cravens could be interesting. We're going to make a move here. I need a linebacker. So we are going to go here. And we're going to move Mr. Sua Cravens to the Mike linebacker spot. And maybe he can carve out a career there. Because he's not going to play at safety. We still have LaRon Landry. He could be LaRon Landry's successor. But I think he adds more value to our team right now as an athletic middle linebacker. To start year 6, our goal will be simple. I'm going to go something that's not individual like last year of trying to get RG3 MVP. I think we'll get the MVP eventually. We got 3 MVPs, I think, with luck in our Colts rebuild. So I'd like to, that's the pace that has been set. I need team success. We just got shut out in the wild card round. So our goal this year is going to be a little bit more attainable. Make the NFC Championship game. Don't have to win it. Love to win it. Just get there. Go on a little bit of a playoff run. Get some confidence as a team. Our draft class is actually a mixed bag. Jonathan Allen the first round was a good pick. Ryan Anderson the second round. That's probably a pick if we hit our challenge we want to flip out of. Moreau was like a solid corner. Played a lot of snaps in the NFL. Samaje Perine still playing as a nice power back. We got Nicholson. Chase Ruley, I think, started a couple years at center. Harvey Clemens, is kind of stuck around the league for a while. Safety linebacker hybrid. Not a terrible class. Jonathan Allen was sick. But let's make that championship game and get to upgrade one of these picks. So we're looking very good. We're playing very good. However, we just took our first L in the division. So a little bit of a double whammy, but off to a 5-1 start. Feels pretty good. Number 1 offense. Number 2 defense. It's early. Things can change. Also, don't love the fact that we have 32nd pass defense. Kind of weird. $100 million of salary cap. And this one thing that happened or didn't happen in our Colts 20-year rebuild, I don't think there was too many years that we had to pick and choose who we could re-sign. That is very much going to be the case here. I think we get younger than D'Angelo Hall. I think I'm gonna side with homegrown players over not. So we're gonna get Jordan Reed, probably not too far away on a 5-year extension. We're gonna get K'Wan Short. We'll go 4 years there, lock him in for the rest of his prime. Fortunately, just not a lot of interest here in Jonathan Cyprian and Doug Baldwin. And I think Doug Baldwin became slightly surplus. I mean, we have Jermaine Kearse under contract. We have Jameson Crowder. And our offense is still Stefon Diggs and Jordan Reed. So Doug Baldwin would be like an expensive wide receiver 3. I just don't want to. You know what? If it comes down to picking and choosing, I don't want to lose both players from the Kirk Cousins trade, so I'll bring back Cyprian, who just continues to go up dev trait. Unfortunately, that kind of makes Doug Baldwin a little expendable. Now, we got weeks to go. I thought it was worth it. I think RG3, okay, he's right up there with Josh Freeman and Andy Dalton. But look at what we have. Stefon Diggs is the leading receiver, and Jordan Reed at tight end. Sometimes, last year, full disclosure, last 5 games, I put Jordan Reed in the slot position, just to see if we can bluff him up and try to get 2,000 receivers. This year, organically, these guys are crushing it. And at the end of the season, we are an absolute wagon. We go 14-3, number 1 offense, number 3 defense, feeling pretty good about our challenge goal this year. RG3, 30 yards, 7th in touchdowns, low INTs, which is good. Look at Alfred Morris. I was about to be like, man, would it be nice to see, and I thought RG3 was on pace for a 40 bomb. But the touchdowns were getting eaten up by Alfred Morris. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with all the shine getting spread out around the offense and this not just being an RG3 carrying this team type rebuild. 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Jordan Reed at tight end. Our slot wide receiver was Stefon Diggs. He popped off as well. And as you can tell by the receiving numbers, we're definitely making the right call, moving off of Doug Baldwin, letting him hit free agency. Defensive side of the ball, 10 half sacks of Rackbo, 10 K1 short, 8 Ryan Kerrigan. Not bad. Definitely not S tier, A tier, but it's a B tier, and you can get by with B tier. INT numbers, not terrible as well. Also, I did re-sign D'Angelo Hall for 1 year. We're getting close. I'm not going to measure the success of this rebuild by how many MVPs, but because we're doing it so after the Andrew Luck, and it's a comparison, these two were supposedly going to be linked at the hip forever. We got 3 MVPs with Andrew Luck. I think. I still have my notes here. 1, 2, 3 MVPs. I'll be honest, I'd like 1. Get 1 MVP, get a couple Super Bowls, and the rest be Gucci. Mike Shanahan gets Coach of the Year. We did not win a single Coach of the Year award with Jim Caldwell as our head coach for 20 seasons. We won a bunch of Super Bowls. Not once did we win it. So, nice. All right, well, that's frustrating, but cool to see Justin Blackmon in this universe panning out. Looking at some of the rookies, Carson Wentz on the Falcons, Zeke on the Packers, Dak on the Chicago Bears, Michael Thomas on the Falcons, Jared Goff to the Giants, defensively Joey Bosa's on the Cardinals, Chris Jones is on the Seahawks. Interesting. Alfred Morris wins running back of the year. He's been stuck on a star dev for a minute, so that's, what better time than now. I think he's 27, 28, so pretty much at the ceiling of his growth. Near the end of his peak, why not peak at the right time? Ooh, division round, we get the Seattle Seahawks 9-8. They have a better defense than us. I mean, our defense is on a little bit on the low side. They're 84 rated. But look at the green ratings. They're the number 1 rushing team and a legitimate top 10 defense. So it's going to be tricky. Now, we got shut out in our last playoff game. If things start turning that way, I may have to hop on the sticks here a little bit. We're a team that just gets gun shy in the playoffs for some reason, and our elite S tier offense just does nothing. I think we can help kind of remedy the situation to make it realistic a little bit. There's no way this team will be this bad in the playoffs. So we're going to come in right here on a 3rd and 8. I did see, looking at the feedback on the last Colts rebuild, people said a little more gameplay, which, my thoughts on it. I have no problem doing gameplay, but you'll have 5 people that say a little more gameplay, then you'll have 7 people saying too much gameplay. You controlled the team too much. So it's about striking that balance. And we will go slant cheese to the best tight end in the league to tie this thing up at 10. Our defense gives up a score. Oh my fuck, why do we suck so bad? 1 and done again. Kirk Cousins. And fuck, man, we're going to lose Josh Allen. Jonathan Allen, whatever his name is. I don't know how to fix this. It's our offense that's struggling, and our offense is a super team. I have no fucking idea what to do. Look at our ratings. How does it get much better than that? Offensively, Morris we now have a superstar running back. Is that going to help somehow? We're going to lose Doug Baldwin, so we need Jameson Crowder to step up. So we're going to be regressing a little bit. Our offense is not going to be as good next year as it is this year. And we fucking have 2 back-to-back playoff runs where it's Terrible. Shout out our defense. They've been doing a pretty good job, all things considered. It wasn't their fault. And now we don't get to add Jonathan Allen, who's probably going to be a superstar dev D tackle. Sick. Love that. The only good news, you only lost to 3 teams. You lost to the Giants, Browns, and Jags. Jags' first-round pick was Leonard Fournette. Giants' first-round pick was Evan Ingram. Or the Cleveland Browns, whose first-round pick was Jabril Peppers. Peppers is the worst. It's not a brutal pick, but it's certainly not Jonathan Allen. Little Sam linebacker tree. I need a linebacker. Alec Ogletree, who is a multi-year star, a bunch of tackles racked up. 25-82. No dev or anything crazy like that, but I think he's going to be, honestly, probably a starting linebacker for us next season. I'll be honest, I'm not expecting this pick to be too bad. Like, this was the benefit of, like, only losing 3 times, and clearly our first-round pick being our best pick. Jabril Peppers, there's just no way it's going to be as good as Jonathan Allen. The base rating should be good. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a dev trade. I think that's maybe a little harsh. He's had a nice NFL career. So the draft class, we were able to clean up 77 rated for Jabril Peppers. Not bad. Ryan Anderson, 67. Moreau, 68. P. Ryan, 70 normal. Chase Roulier, 70 normal. Nicholson's a 72. Don't know about that. Sprinkle, 70 also feels a little bit generous, but again, not my draft classes. We didn't get, all normal devs, so everybody in this class has a modest ceiling at best. Expectations have never been higher for Washington going into the 2017 season. Our goal is, I'm going to go with an easy goal, and we still might not hit it. Win a playoff game. That is it. Win us one playoff game. Our current draft, Deron Payne, great first-round pick. Darius Geis is kind of a, obviously this is an off-field thing at college. He looked like the next big running back in college football. But obviously he had some off-the-field issues. So, he actually might be a decent enough pick. You had a couple white lightnings here. Troy Apke, he walked so Cooper DeJean and others could run. Tim Settle had a nice NFL career. But definitely is a draft class we could do a lot of improving on. So, let's win one playoff game, and we could upgrade one of our picks. So, we're on a good track to at least make the playoffs to get our first win. We are 6-2. However, offensively, not bad, not good. Don't really have a true identity here. We're just kind of winning with good defense for right now. But all it takes is like 2-3 weeks of putting up 30 bombs, which we absolutely can do. And those rankings take a nice jump up. Looking at our contracts, we have Mr. Brown Arakpo, Jermaine Kearse, Perry Riley, D'Angelo. So it's all, Now we have $81 million of cap. So I think in this situation, Spencer Long's developed nicely, and we don't really have many guards coming up the pipeline. So we'll get him on a 3-year. Those are the kind of deals that, keep the team together. LaRon Landry, Peppers can take over his position. I feel decent about that. He's a great, but what's he looking for? 12 a year? 32. I do have Peppers playing like a hybrid linebacker role, though. So if I could get Landry back on a 2-year, can kind of keep that. I think that's where we might be able to find some value. So that being said, I think Perry Riley is going to get kind of phased out. D'Angelo Hall, if he just wants to keep coming back for 1-year deals, I'm not going to be spending that money elsewhere, I don't think. But the big deal, Jermaine Kearse, 27. He's just bottom of the barrel depth chart there. Tough decisions need to be made. Breeland's 25-80. Like a 3-year. He's solid depth. And then what is Arakpo looking for? He's looking for 47 over 1 year. I think my argument for this would be I'm not going to get anybody in free agency. So there's our big get this year. Keeping it for a 1-year rental, almost $50 million. Oh, yeah, boys. My offensive worries. Look, we just put up 40 on the Vikings for the bye week. 5 touchdowns, RG3. We'll be fine. At the end of the season, we go 13-4, another first-round bye, so a great position to achieve our challenge of getting a dub. We also have a milestone to reach for RG3 99 Club. Welcome. 99 rated, skill set. Pretty terrifying, if I do say so myself. Not much else has changed offensively. Defensively, again, no dev traits from our last class. The only thing we, did differently is we put Jabril Peppers in the best position to make plays by having him kind of play like a sub-linebacker role, which is usually what you do if you have 3 good safeties. You got to put him at linebacker or nickel, And Peppers has the skill set to play that position. RG3, second yards, 43. We might have our one MVP here that we're looking for. One hell of a year from RG3. Run game took a little bit of a step back. I can live with that. Stefon Diggs is a cheat code. 1,600 yards, 24 touchdowns. Would have loved, I mean, Jordan Reed still had a really good tight end season. That is more than enough production for me not to worry about him regressing any. Crowder at 800 yards, which is not too bad, but those 24 touchdowns. Is that a record? That's like the one record I don't always remember at the top of my head. It's going to tie it with Greg Jennings. Very nice from Stefon Diggs. Eventually, free agent Alec Ogletree got a whole bunch of tackles for us. Peppers over 100 for the rookie. 11.5 sacks at Rackpo, 10.5 K1 shorts, 7.5 for Mr. Ryan Kerrigan. Something I am thinking about. This is one of those weird things where we have a Rackpo coming back on one-year rentals. Preston Smith is pretty good. Like, that could be an interesting trade piece. 24 years old, 82. Hasn't really had a chance to go up dev, but it's also a natural succession plan for us for Rackpo. But it's like, are we going to pay Preston Smith if he's looking for, like, you know, $20 million a year for a contract extension, which he could? It's an awkward spot for us to be. We may need to consider cashing out this offseason. I don't know. We will see. Depends how this playoff run goes. If we're panicking because it doesn't go well, we may have to try to take a bigger swing for the fences, and the only way to do that is trading away some of our top depth. Well, there we go. We got 3 MVPs with Andrew Luck, and we get at least our first for RG3. Stefon Diggs wins Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. That's always cool. It's worked out. CMC goes to the Niners. Just skips the Panthers jersey. What else do Alvin Kamara on the Bucks. Defensive, oh great, glad he's in the division. Myles Garrett is on the Saints. So happy about that. That's so cool. Oh, sick. Yeah, for us to achieve our challenge, we've got to play a 9-win Lions team who are better than us in every single category. Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm hopping in. If this gets belt to ass or something, I might have to backpack. Even with a pick being on the line, this is probably the ultimate cheese. I'm hopping in. This is unbelievable. We now have an MVP quarterback who in like 3 playoff games has 16 points total scored. There we go. Nice little go-ahead score. Defense doing the job, man. Hold them only to field goals. And then here we go. This is where we're going to come in and try and... Fuck, man, we don't have any deep threats. How are we in this position to begin with? I mean, dig slant. We still have all our timeouts, so we can work the middle of the field. Get that block. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Fuck you, man. No shame. This is so dumb. It should not be this hard for my super team to play well in the playoffs, okay? Fuck you if you want to complain. I think most people are going to be like, yes, now we can finally get back to kind of the fun thing of this, which is stealing picks. But man, oh man, I have no faith whatsoever in us winning a Super Bowl. And we got our MVP with RG3. We get our win. We get our upgrade. We beat some juicy teams. I know we beat the Bucks. That'd be Vita Vea. That could be kind of cool. That's just the only team I really remember during the regular season. But there we go. But man, oh man, if I didn't hop in, that is easily another one and done. A little bit better matchup. Get the Vikings. Pretty offensive. Still got Adrian Peterson, Percy Harvin. There's some names you haven't heard in a minute. Do like our chances, though. Come on. RG3 is really at that point where regression could hit next year. So like we're at that point of the rebuild. It took us 10 seasons. I guess if we're comparing MVPs, it took us 10 years to finally win a Super Bowl with the Colts. I thought we'd have a chance to win it a little bit earlier. Ooh, okay. Did it ourselves. Again, what is the point of having an insane offense if they struggle this badly? I have an MVP quarterback that it feels like if another team scores 21 points, we are fucked, but we are 2 wins away from something cool happening. We make that 1 win away. You needed 2 wins. We got 1. We need the other gear. 12-5 Bengals. Top 5 offense, number 1 passing offense. They had AJ Green, Geno Atkins, Jermaine Gresham. Who is their quarterback? Dalton, right? I remember, obviously, he's getting put in that very favorable position. Yeah, Andy Dalton, 94. They got Jeremy Hill, AJ Green, Jordan Shipley, Gresham, Taylor Lewan, Tunsil, Assembly. Defense looks kind of butt cheeks. I mean, obviously I say that, and Geno Atkins 99 X Factor. Shaq Thompson, Ray Maluga, Kevin Johnson, a couple what-if players there for sure. Kenny Vaccaro's into the 90s. I mean, they're good. We're better on paper. For winning MVP, we get a little upgrade point for RG3. He now has achieved his third eye. We are now a perfect scheme fit now, 99 scheme fit. So I'm sure that is going to be and play a huge part. And there we go, playmaker. No overall upgrade. Again, it's the house rules. It kind of sucks, especially when it's playmaker, because that takes that's the longest to get to 99, I feel. But Diggs, put the C on his chest, stay off the pink stuff off the boats and stuff, and stop being a piece of shit off the field. Lock in, let's win a Super Bowl. A chance to win a Super Bowl 3 years earlier than what we did in our first 20-year rebuild with the Colts. Or are we going to have our Stefon Diggs viral meme moment where he's sad sitting on the sideline watching confetti fall as the Bengals win the Super Bowl? Bengals get a go-ahead score. Does look kind of low scoring. Where is our MVP quarterback? Why are we losing a duel to Andy fucking Dalton? Pardon my French. Feel like I'm swearing a little too much. But this is so dumb. We're going for it on 4th and 2. Touchdown, go ahead, 1-point lead. Defense holds them to a field goal. We're going to watch this one. We're taking over. We get a 2nd and 6 midfield. Field goal. Okay. Still too much time. Stefon Diggs, show it up. All right, up 5. Let's take this to the 2-minute warning. 3rd and 5. 4th and 1. Come on, one stop. How are they not using timeouts here? 2 straight runs, no timeouts off the clock. Gotta love Madden Sim. What is 7 runs? I almost don't want to win it this way. But you know what? We've lost. How many Super Bowls have I literally chucked my controller across the room because in the crunch time, my team just runs the football? If it's got to be broken, it got to be both ways. We just got it both ways, and the Washingtons, year 7 of our 20-year rebuild, get our first MVP for RG3 and our first Super Bowl. Not bad. 7 years. I mean, again, if we're kind of going off the regular standard rebuilds, when we come in, if we don't win within 5 years, that's usually a little bit of a disappointment. But with the added challenge of the draft situation here in our 20-year rebuild, 7 years in feels pretty good for a 99 rated quarterback. We have a known good scheme. We take advantage of that Washington super staff. We promote McVay to our offensive coordinator. And RG3 absolutely has flourished under his wing. Likely the Super Bowl MVP in this one. 3 touchdowns, no picks. It'll be pretty tough for it not to be him. Co-share. Stefon Diggs needed him to show up. 10 catches, $122, and a hat trick. Defensively, Arakpo got a sack. Jermaine Johnson, I'll take 3 PBUs, man. It's almost as good as 3 touchdowns. But who are we kidding? It'd go to the quarterback. It's a quarterback award. Congrats. So we do have 2 players going on top. Max Unger's been here for the last 4 years, 3-4 years. He goes after 9 years, and the great D'Angelo Hall goes out as a Super Bowl champion after 14 good seasons in the NFL. So to celebrate our championship, the players we could steal. It's just worth noting, Josh Allen. This was the year we could. Just 2 quarterback system, find a way to make it work. Problem is, I think Daron Payne's our first-round pick. I'd love to get, a meta, keep that as our first-round pick and flip another one. But the value is all coming here for just swapping first-round picks. We have Minkah Fitzpatrick that we could steal from the Dolphins. Roquan Smith from the Bears. We've had uncertainty at linebacker. That would solidify the position probably for the rest of the rebuild. Saquon Barkley, kind of just BPA, right? Alfred Morris is starting to slow down a little bit. We could have the best running back. But I think schematically speaking, as long as RG3's here, we're going to be a pass-first team. It'd be overkill having a running back. The only value pick would be Philadelphia's 4th-round pick. They got Josh Sweat. He could probably pull a pretty good rating in from these custom classes. I don't think if we don't go Roquan Smith, we can upgrade Daron Payne to Vita Vea. It's between one of those 2. We're either going to go Vita Vea or Roquan. Looking at our roster. So linebacker, Alec Ogletree is a starting linebacker. We kind of have Perry Riley's getting ready to walk. But I did have Peppers kind of playing sub-linebacker. We're going to let, We have Landry for the next 2 seasons. So we kind of have Jabril. In a way, next year our linebackers would be Jabril Peppers, who could maybe move there full-time, and Ogletree. We feel pretty good. At defensive tackle, however, We have K1 Short, who's, at 29, he's getting up there in age. I was fine with the Deron Payne selection, but, imagine what Vita Vea. I think we get the most value, the most bang for our buck, stealing away Vita Vea. So that's what we're going to do. Plus, I'm a big fan. So we're very, very happy as we rewrite history, selecting Vita Vea as your defending Super Bowl champions. Number 14 in true value in this class. What a monster. So take a look at our draft recap. The ratings aren't bad. Greg Strobin, 67. Deion Hamilton, 67. 66 on Tim Settle. 68 on Troy Apke. Everyone from Pink Slips fame. Christian sucked. Easily the worst player of the class. Darius Geis with a 69. It's a little bit lower than expected. But this is right there. You feel pretty good about that one. That is going to be an absolute difference maker from here on out in this rebuild. Probably going to run the rest of the rebuild. So we start year number 8, the 2018 season. We're going to go with a big challenge. Challenges are supposed to be fun. There's like the little dimension of Pink Slips in here that I'd rather be like 60-40 when I throw a challenge out there. Like, we're going to hit it because that's an exciting thing that kind of helps us reshape history, especially when we're not having a particularly good class. I'm going to say out front, we're going to go with a huge challenge this year. It's going to be win the Super Bowl. That is the ultimate goal. I want to go back-to-back. The reason why we need to embrace such a challenge is because we have probably the best draft class of this whole rebuild for the Commanders coming up. Obviously, RIP. Outside of that, hit. Holcomb's probably also going to be a hit, considered a hit. Remember, Bryce Love was like a Heisman contender. But it's those big one, too. It'd probably be Scary Terry would be the guy you'd lose. So if he lose out on the challenge, we still get Montez Sweat, which is a good win, considering like Arakpo's age. There's a pick we could flip in. But then also, with all due respect, if we hit our challenge, swapping out Dwayne Haskins for a different first-round pick could help keep this dynasty going. If we can get something else there, and then Sweat and Scary Terry, we are laughing. So that's why we're going with big. Because we're viewing this challenge as truly a challenge. Because let's see if we can make it a little bit harder. Because if not, God forbid the rest of the league, we get 3 juiced up picks here to start this, defend as a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. It's game over. Now, I was curious what we could get for Preston Smith. Come on. Don't even tempt me with that. The value's not great. I'd be honest. If I could get like an equal level guard, I think I would have made this trade, but no one's biting. So we're able to make a trade happen here. Surplus. I didn't really want to get rid of Chris Thompson, but it was the whatever that could get this bar across the line. Preston Smith, rookie contract, 82 pass rusher, 49ers need a pass rush. For us, you look at what we're getting in return, it's the contracts. Smith and Thompson, both in contract years, both need to get paid. Dan Finney has 3 years left of his contract, 23, 24 years old, 78, perfect scheme fit, plug-and-play guard for the next 4 or 5 years. Witherspoon at 75, again, still, I think he has 3 years left on his contract. He's at a 5-point upgrade over our current corner 3. I'm trading better players that need to get paid for not as good players who I think will hit their ceilings and make this trade look good in 2-3 years' time. All right, so mid-season goal, win the Super Bowl, 4-1, coming out of the bye. Could be 5-0, would be nice. $100 million worth of salary cap. We're going to get Scherf locked in, 5-year deal for our superstar tackle. We got some decisions to be made. Okay, we'll go cheap on special teams. I've been paying these guys. We'll save a couple bucks there. Well, if we get Scary Terry, we don't need Jamison Crowder. If we don't get Scary Terry, we need Jamison Crowder. Ryan Kerrigan, Alfred Morris. I think that's a good price for Alfred Morris, I'm being honest. For what he brings to the offense, 2 years, lock him in for the rest of his prime. That one makes sense. Oh. Do we get Montez Sweat or not? That is the question. I guess Kerrigan. And then if we'll come back into the year. See if we hit our goal. If we do hit our goal, we can make a move. If we don't, it makes sense to bring Arakpo back. We're fucking 1 loss to the Browns away from a perfect season. No! At least, okay, there we go. If we're gonna, I would go 15-2 over 16-1, 10 times out of 10. At least we lost twice. It was never meant to be. So with the goal of winning the Super Bowl, feel pretty good going 15-2. Number one offense, number one defense, and only allowing 16 points per game is absolutely outstanding. Stefon Diggs joins the 99 club this year, and look at that production. RG3, I mean, a little bit down. Like, that's still not a bad year. 4,500 yards, 34 touchdowns, 5 picks. It's also not like an S tier year. We get a little bit more scrambling out of him, though. Another 5 touchdowns there. Alfred Morris was solid. Samaje Perine chipping in. Maybe, like, you know, that's low for Jordan Reed. Everyone else is fine. Like, would have liked maybe another 100 or 200 yards for Jordan Reed. But when Stefon Diggs pops off like that, dude, if we can win a Super Bowl and we pair Scary Terry, dude, oh. I'm an Eagle fan, but even that sounds interesting. And we signed the right guy, right? Kirk at 13.5 sacks, 13.5, 10 TFLs for the rookie superstar Vita Vea. What a selection that was. 9.5 K1 shorts. Rakbo still fairly solid. INT numbers are there. Ooh, I do love how good Team Tebow is in this rebuild, but RG3 top 3 for MVP, unable to repeat. Hopefully, we will be able to repeat as Super Bowl. We had to do a trade-off. Mike Shanahan wins another Coach of the Year award. Stefon Diggs wins Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. Look at some of the rookies. Josh Allen is on the Eagles, Saquon Barkley on the Cardinals, Nick Chubb on the Falcons. Some big-time names over here. Fred Warner on the Giants. We obviously got Vita Vea there. Derwin James on the Bucks. Deron Payne goes on the Giants. So we start our journey to win a Super Bowl we really want to win. Couldn't record for a sec, so I was kind of looking at like our win-loss, who we could potentially steal. We want to win. I'll leave it at that. Okay. Interesting battle so far. MVP quarterback, 1 touchdown. But you got to score more than they do. I do not view anytime we're in the weird world of Madden Sim, it is not a beauty contest. It is about results. It's a result-driven business. And that is a great start there. Outdueling Teddy Two Gloves. Instead of us in another Super Bowl appearance is the 9-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a 91 rated defense. They got Devontae Adams, Dontari Poe, the number 3 passing attack. Anytime you put up a number like that, where it's like, who do you guys get under center? Okay. Josh Freeman's been a dude. I've seen him in the MVP races. Whoa, that's a rough look at Josh Freeman, but he's had a hell of a career. I mean, just, go back to the green ratings. As casual of takes that needs to be. Number 1 offense, number 1 defense. It should take a special team to stop us from winning a 2nd straight Super Bowl. So we just need RG3 to remind everybody in this locker room that we have dynasty mode in our sights. This is the best offense and best defense in the league. Not too often you get that with a team that's not going to really fall apart or too expensive a roster to not fall apart. We have, a chance to get 2 Super Bowls and then carry into a draft that's going to carry us into more Super Bowls. But to do that, we have to win back-to-back, and we get a reward that really feels like a reward for the nearly impossible feat of winning back-to-back. And at least we have an opportunity here. 21-7, a professional victory. Maybe didn't really see the number 1 offense show up, but the number 1 defense certainly did in Madden 26. No, I'm sounding like I'm beating a dead horse here, but Madden 26, you get the best defense, you're probably going to win a lot. And we get in the Super Bowl, the San Diego Chargers, 11-6, 91 rated defense. I go back to that point I literally just said. Not too often there's a 91 rated defense that isn't going to end up winning a lot. Let's, again, just out of curiosity, what do we got? We got to win. Taylor, fitting for this rebuild that we're doing Washington. Obviously, I think Heineke's best years came. I'll never forget a certain game against the Eagles. Probably the greasiest thing I've ever seen a quarterback do in the NFL, but it is what it is. They won the game. They got Mark Andrews, pretty good offensive line across the board. Defensively, Corey Liggett, Bradley Chubb, Grady Jarrett, Shaq Barrett, Donald Butler. Yikes. Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Gilchrist, Eric Weddle still. You guys got enough safeties back there. This guy's an idiot. Tell you right now, if you see this guy on social media, an absolute moron. Well, I kind of go into this like, hey, let's have an offense. This is going to be an ugly Super Bowl. No offense. I think this is going to be like 17-10. Hopefully to us. I'd like to think Taylor Heineke can't outduel our super team on route to Super Bowl. There is not a single position group they have better than ours. We have a 99 rated quarterback. How are we fucking losing? We need like 2 more stops defensively. Oh, that is a drive right there. Yeah, now we're coming in. We already got our Super Bowl. We just got a big INT. It's 1st and 10 of the 13. Let's hop in. Again, want a little more gameplay? I love to provide a little more gameplay when we can. This is the perfect time. Let's enjoy this offense. Do we get this maybe to Josh Jackson? You think that can make the former first-round absolute bust feel happy? Well, he caught that 1 touchdown in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like us Eagle fans, Nelson Aguilar, where it moves more so Aguilar's whole playoff run. Kind of completely redeemed himself. Well, I'm going to tell you what I know. Is that Dwayne Haskins pick has just got upgraded to Nick Bosa. So we're going to steal Bosa from the 49ers, and let's win 5 more Super Bowls. What was the pace? The pace was, I think we made 5. I keep notes for all my rebuilds. I don't have any more notebooks. I'm on printer paper, for God's sakes. Could probably digitalize this. I think we made 5 Super Bowls with the Colts, and we won 2. And we had 3 MVPs for Andrew Luck. So we already have equaled these Super Bowls from the Colts. We haven't appeared in 5 games, but we've won 2. We have 1 of the 3 MVPs that Andrew Luck won with RG3. And we still got a whole bunch of time. And I think without even looking, absolutely 2nd straight Super Bowl MVP for RG3. Co-MVP goes to every pass rusher on our defense. 6 sacks, taking the game over. Let's go. So our gold upgraded pick was win the Super Bowl. That's exactly what we do. All due respect, Dwayne Haskins, our first overall selection because of RG3. We do not need that pick, so we are gladly going to take the man that went number 2 overall to the 49ers, Nick Bosa. Come on down. So the retirement of Brian Arakpo, so that, makes sense because we are about to have Bosa and Montez Sweat come in from the upcoming rookie class. Sweat might need to sit and wait for a year until Ryan Kerrigan retires, but timing couldn't have been any better. So just feeling a little cute here for our first Super Bowl champion. We're going to get number 3 player in the class, Nick Bosa. Come on down. There is our replacement for the great Brian Arakpo. And I bet you he loves playing for Washington. He's a Patriot. He's a Patriot. And then because we got to follow history, we just get another just freak of nature. Still one of the best athletes I've ever seen go to the combine. 6'6", 260, you're like a 4'3", 93 acceleration, 91 speed. He might have to wait. I don't think he's going to have enough juice to take over for Ryan Kerrigan as a rookie, but we'll get him involved somehow in that D-line. Let's keep it coming for the Super Bowl champs. 2-time Super Bowl champs. Scary Terry, number 9 in true value in the class. Pairing that with Stefon Diggs. Dynasty season is upon us. If you want, you can skip ahead to probably year 15 of the rebuild to see how many Super Bowls we've won. Man, there's something going on with the drafts. I had to kick some picks down the road. For some reason, the draft presentation is not working. When we did the Colts rebuild, the players would walk out. It's just a black screen. And through how I get this to work, we've yet to have, players getting sniped. I was able to, just toss our late-round flyers in the Colts rebuild into the ether, and I was able always to get them in my draft, and now they're getting picked. I don't know why. Take a look at our class. So we still got 95% of the class. We got Pierschbacher, Martin, Cole Holcomb comes in, 69 rated. Thought there might have been a chance for a sneaky depth trait there, but he should be a solid player. We get Bryce Love, who, remember at a point in time, he was one of those guys Heisman contender at running back, could have went to the NFL, decided to go back to school, and then lost all his draft stock. It's bizarre. So it could be cool if he can kind of carve out a role in our team, but the first 3 picks, 2-time back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and we get 2 freak of nature pass rushers and one of the best wide receivers in the league. Pretty good. 2 Super Bowls in a row, an S-tier draft, an all-time draft that can set the franchise up for the next foreseeable future. This is what our team looks like going into year number 9. We add Scary Terry to an offense that doesn't need him at all. You know, we're just at Stefon Diggs might be the best wide receiver in the league. We might have the best quarterback in the league. Got the best tackle duo in the league. Probably the best receiving tight end in the league. And now we get Scary Terry. And the defensively, when teams are like, well, they might regress a little bit. They lost Arakpo, all-world pass rush. Oh, we get Nick Bosa and Montez Sweat. We're going to have Montez Sweat kind of work in a little bit this season on the D-line. Linebacker might bear weakness, but again, our linebacker duo is still predominantly going to be Peppers and Ogletree. So that's 88 and 84 respectively. Might get Holcomb a little bit. I think we might be able to develop him up. You know, secondary, I would say like the corner room, definitely an area for improvement. We made the trade for Witherspoon. Breland, solid. Actually, went up dev trade. He was on normal dev last season. And Johnson's developed into a really nice corner for us. But I suppose if you're trying to be and poke holes, say, oh, you got a super team. You know, our corner room definitely could get a little bit better. And looking at the upcoming classes here, well, we get we get Cam Curl, we get a DB at some point, but we don't get a lot of good corners. So we might have to actually dip our toes into free agency for want to get big improvements and get a lockdown on an island DB. And then for our own draft, like this, we need to like hit our challenge just because I don't need Chase Young. Chase Young from a prospect, I don't, you know, usually these draft classes tend to like meet in the middle between where the player was coming out as a prospect and kind of how their career went. Chase Young's probably gonna be in the middle somewhere. Don't need another pass rusher. Would love to flip that to something else. And or if we don't achieve our goal this year, he's clearly the best player. With all due respect, Cam Curl also very good. Happy to get that selection. But if we do lose out, it's kind of like, well, we're losing surplus, an overkill position for us. Antonio Gibson also is solid. I think Sadiq Charles is still kicking around in the league a little bit. But certainly, you know, middle of the mall, not bad. Kind of an average class as a whole, but I would love to hit our challenge and switch that pick. And I think to make it challenging, until we lose, I know I hate having challenges that kind of just like, oh, lazy, just come up with something, you know, do your homework before class starts to do it the night before. But I really think until we lose, every challenge is going to be win the Super Bowl again. Can we make it 3 in a row? If we do, we can flip our pick. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hate to get repetitive and broken. We're just crushing it. We have, you know, we're enjoying the fruits of our labor right now. 6-2, not a perfect record. You know, it's not like we're undefeated and just see we can go undefeated every year, but we're on pace to have another 2-loss season. Our offense is number 1. Defense, not that good. I think after this bye week, those numbers will improve obviously a little bit. Let's actually go. We'll go right to after the bye week. Our offense probably will fall from 1. Goes from 1 to 2, and our defense, yes, you know, again, we're allowing a lot of points, winning a lot of shootouts. Looking at our contracts here, $93 million of salary cap. It's one of those years where it's a down year. Probably time to move off Laurent Landry. Josh Dog, like, you know, guys, meh. Tremaine Johnson, though, like we just said, our corner room sucks. I don't think our corner room gets better letting him walk, so we'll invest there. Not as good a record, but hey, 13-4, that's, you know, when I have a team built like this, that's kind of the floor. 12, 13 wins, anything less, you don't feel as good. But, I mean, the rankings are... It's a little bit of the theory I had when you do, like, a Bengals rebuild. If you've done any franchise sim with the Bengals, their passing offense is so good that I'm just like, their defense is on the field so much that your defensive ratings are always going to suck when you have the ball and pass that much. Because I think RG3 went off. Yeah. Holy shit. Rams offense... scheme, I mean, I had to just, show that it's still the exact same scheme because this is quite the jump up. But it's what you think when you go get a Scary Terry. RG3, 52 touchdowns. We never had a season even remotely close to that with RG3. With Andrew Luck and the Colts. And look at below. Diggs, 123 catches, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Scary Terry, 1,300 yards, 23 touchdowns. Holy shit. We have unlocked an absolute Chico. We still got 1,000 for Alfred Morris. Almost had Josh Doxson 8. Jordan Reed, very good tight end numbers. Defensively. Now, okay, maybe it's a bummer that Nick Bosa got 6.5. I tried rotating Montez Sweat in and out a little bit of the lineup. I mean, he just had to sit and wait. But even then, it's like, oh, well, you know, it kind of stinks a little bit. Oh, we get 17 sacks from Vita Vea. I'm not going to bitch and moan too much about that. I think Bosa will get his eventually. INT numbers, not the best, but I guess he can't be good at everything. And we already knew coming into this year that our secondary was the weak link. Easily runs away with MVP. RG3, one of the greatest quarterback seasons of all time. Scary Terry McLaurin as a rookie gets Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. But 1, 2, and 3, Washington is dominating. To be honest, really. For a nose tackle, Vita Vea should have ran away with Defensive Player of the Year. Scary Terry gets Offensive Rookie of the Year. We have A.J. Brown on the Seahawks. T.J. Hawkinson on the Rams. Debo on the Saints. Kyler Murray is a Seattle Seahawk. Josh Jacobs on the Vikings. Defensively, Quinnen Williams on the Giants. Cole Holcomb, runner-up. He had a nice season. We kind of rotated him out. Nick Bosa still making the top 5. Montez Sweat making the top 10. At least Vita Vea wins Defensive Lineman of the Year. That should take it from Superstar to an X Factor. And we'll just get a quick update of our records. RG3 now holds all the major Washington records passing. Alfred Morris holds the rushing records. RG3 single season passing touchdown. Stefon Diggs has all the single season receiving nuns. And then we have Scary Terry taking all the rookie receiving records. And actually, I missed this one. Vita Vea, 13 sacks last year, most for a rookie in Washington history for a rookie. Well, that goes to show you that our dynasty is just beginning. And we start here in the divisional round against the 9-8 Green Bay Packers. Pretty well-built team. Higher rated defense than we do, talent-wise, and a very good offense. This could be a tricky game. But we have something special here. When you have challenges the way that we have challenges, and our challenges have been win the Super Bowl. They have not been layups. It's not been like, let's have a top 10 offense. These have been, you know, all or nothing. Only one team in the whole league gets those types of challenges. And we're just, you know, winning at the clip and rate that we've been able to win. Feels pretty good. But we're going to have to buckle up here. Potential overtime football. Here we go. Let's watch this one. 17-17. Just before the 2-minute warning. We're getting the football back. Can we? Let's see. One of the greatest quarterback seasons of all time. What can RG3 do? We start. We get a nice 12-yard pass. I'm happy for Josh Jaxson. As we go through this series, I've seen some people in the comments being like, hey, C4, maybe you just draft who you want to draft. There is an element. There's multiple elements to going through and repeating these drafts. Because, one, you get the fun players that they actually drafted that you really want to relive if you're watching this video as a fan of a team. Scary Terry. 2, you get the bad players. So that's all they're like, oh, there's the meme. Like a meme bad player. And or a chance for a career resurgence. Like we may be seeing Josh Jaxson almost got 1,000 yards this year. And also having those busts on those teams makes it so, from the Colts rebuild, took us 10 years to win 1 Super Bowl. Because it wasn't just cheesy speeding our way to building a super team as fast as we possibly can. As Young Hoku kicks a hopeful game-winning field goal. But a very, very tough opponent. Man, that's a well-built Packers team. Offensive scheme is elite, and they had a higher-rated defense, more defensive talent than we did. Could have been a tricky L, but professional dub. And our third straight NFC Championship, it's a divisional rival. We'll get the 12-5 Philadelphia Eagles. Number 2 offense, number 2 rushing. The number 1 rushing defense, LaShawn McCoy. All right. The Super Bowl on the line, we split the regular season 1-1 with the Philadelphia Eagles. We won in their backyard. They beat us at home. So they're trying to make it 2 wins over Washington at FedEx Field, or whatever the hell it's called now. It's called the FedEx Field in this. I mean, it'd be pretty impressive for any team to beat us twice at home. But it's Philly. Anytime you play a divisional opponent, they always know your tricks. 21-14, fourth quarter. It's all going to come down to what team wants it more. Ooh. Can we get one more stop? Oh, can we ever? Fumble recovery. It's not, you know, maybe at no point during this playoff run so far have we seen the insane RG3 stat line kind of play out in the sim. But what we have seen is consistently good games. And Josh Allen and the Eagles can frig off. We're back in the Super Bowl. 3rd straight Super Bowl win. And we achieve our challenge. And we can not get another edge rusher in the first round. And the Super Bowl is the Washington Footballs against Jacksonville. 13-4. What does that look like? And I will say, now that the Madden menu lag has been fixed on console, I think our next realistic rebuild I'm going to be working on after this video will be the Jags. Blaine Gabbert developed into a guy. TJ Yeldon, OBJ, Kendall Wright, Allen Robinson. He ended up on the Jags naturally. That's cool. I always like when that happens. Dwayne Allen. Shout out, everyone knows superstar lineman Will Rackley, right? Armstead, Landry, Jaron Reed, Reuben Foster. There's a what if. There's another what if. Jalen Smith never suffered an injury. He'd probably look like that at some point during the league. Janoris Jenkins. You got Jack Rabbit, Clinton Dix. I mean, it's a solid team, but it's not our super team. I'm not gonna lie though, we almost need to lose because I don't know how to make a more difficult challenge than win the Super Bowl. Like, do we have to literally be like, win the Super Bowl, undefeated season? Is that gonna have to be our challenge next year if we win another one? Jags starting throwing some haymakers. Holy shit. Okay. Oh, wow. No touchdown for us. Had to settle for a field goal. This is going to be a busy second half. RG3 needs to get on his wagon. We need to wake these guys up here. There we go. 3-point game. I'm not going to play it, but I want to watch it. Okay, we finish this off with a touchdown. PBU. There we go. Okay. Alfred Morris, of course. Alrighty. 1-point game. They're marching. Head of the 2-minute warning. Ooh. 3rd and 13. 4th and 13. They went for it. Holy shit. It's over. What? What happened? Jags with the balls to go, rather than kicking the long field goal for the win, they pass it, and then they end up fumbling it. And there is, in the most impossible way, a 3rd straight Super Bowl. Oh my God, could you imagine? Could you imagine? I don't, like, literally, I think we just got maddened. Like, there's no way, no realm in any possibility that, like, fumbled the snap of the field goal would be the only thing that I could, like, now because we have a little bit of mystery because I was Sim. If we had to make this story that we're trying to tell a little more believable, the Jags just botched the game-winning field goal. And 3rd straight Super Bowl challenge, checkmark. For Washington, RG3, did he get another Super Bowl MVP? I'm going to be honest. I'm giving it for just, that's going to K1 short. Oh, it was a forced fumble. There's your Super Bowl MVP. Now, we have a lot of impressive potential first-round picks to steal as Super Bowl champions. We had Carolina, which is Derek Brown. We had Dallas's 2nd-round pick is Trevon Diggs to pair with Stefon Diggs, which I thought was pretty cool, but that doesn't really solve our issue of getting Chase Young in the 1st round. Now, if we're just trying to accumulate talent, I guess that makes sense. Because then we could trade like a Montez Sweat, just continue to make a super team. But I think in the element of like just not completely cheesing the system. Tampa Bay, Tristan Wirfs. Thought about that because then we could put Wirfs at tackle, move Brendan Schrift and went back to guard where he was drafted. But I think the move here is Atlanta. We're going to flip Chase Young and we're going to steal the Falcons' 1st-round pick, which was AJ Terrell. We have retirement. Laron Landry at over 1,000 tackles in his career retires after 13 seasons. So we are going to move Jabril Peppers back to strong safety, which means we need a little bit of linebacker cover. Now we're kind of going back to the Sam cheese, but Zaire Franklin's exactly what we need at linebacker. 80, 24, normal dev trait, but nice skill set, and we'll probably start for us. So the first pick, instead of getting Chase Young, who, I mean, there could be an argument, depending on how this class rocks and rolls, that Chase Young is a better player, better dev trait, higher rating than AJ Terrell, but we desperately need to improve our secondary, and at least he's popping with a dev trait. Ooh, we also get a dev trait on Antonio Gibson. That is a pleasant surprise. Alfred Morris is not getting any younger. All right, so take a look at our draft recap. Ends up, I mean, no one in the 50s is pretty decent. Cam Curl in the 5th round has the dev trait, so there's a nice little developmental player for us to try and put in the right position with Landry retiring. He actually may allow us to keep Jabril Peppers at like that sub linebacker role. We can have Curl play there in like nickel and stuff like that. Gibson 70 with a dev trait, not bad. Inch Terrell 76 with a dev trait. But I do need to see what Chase Young's rating is. Just a second. No. So what kind of challenge do you do when you just keep winning all the Super Bowls? What's something that makes this super team have to actually earn it? I'm going to go maybe with the most punishing one, because there's almost no chance we hit this. But with the rate that this team wins, I wouldn't put it past them. And or we're going to... This challenge will be over week 4 if we get upset. Undefeated season. That is the last thing we have to accomplish. We've won the Super Bowls. We've won the MVPs. We've had #1 offense. We've had #1 defense. I want 17-0. All right, challenge failed. That's just fantastic. Well, looking at our class, week two, Yard can stop giving a shit about. I mean, it's probably cost me. Second rounder was not really that great as a tackle. Moved to guard, became a really, really good guard. So we're probably going to get sniped of Cosme. Obviously, Davis was a first-round bust. Love the Canadian St. Juice, but he ended up being like a meme for Washington. De'Ami Brown, decent, can stick around the league. Same with the Rick Forrest. But this is a bad class and, maybe a deserved down year for Washington. Now, let's bounce back after the week 1 loss. Got that undefeated season nonsense out of the way. Let's go win another Super Bowl. I mean, it's been a little bit. 6-4 is not really the standard we've set. I mean, our team has not gone backwards. RG3 still popping off. 5 touchdown performance here, week 11. But yeah, certainly, having some struggles this season. Maybe it's, losing out on our challenge draft pick upgrade. Normally we're about to have to lock into a first-round bust selection. Kind of affected our team's morale a little bit. We're rallying. We got a lot of money for our contracts here. I like Jabril Peppers. We got to kind of value him as like the Swiss Army knife of the defense. Why don't these guys have interest in staying? I think Breland, give it our corner room for 2 years, lock him in for the rest of his prime is good business. But why doesn't Cyprian want to stay here? Why? How come he don't want me, man? Him with that Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, Alfred Morris is a legend. I think we can have him for another season. Gibson is developing nice. So there could be a succession plan going on there. Dan Feeney on the offensive line. Mr. Fahini. Probably not too far away. I think he's 20, that's high 80 ceiling. Until probably like 29, 30 years old when he starts regressing a little bit. I mean, Spencer Long's also a starter, and he doesn't want to go anywhere, so there's good money. K1 short. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Are we really going to start trying to budget over? This is probably the only one that's a tough suck. Because we have Montez Sweat waiting to go. Ryan Kerrigan obviously finished his career as a Philadelphia Eagle legend, Ryan Kerrigan. Maybe keep Roulier. Let's do that. But I think we're going to let Kerrigan walk so Montez Sweat can start. So at the end of the season, mixed bag here. I think it's fair to say 11-6 on the run that we've been on the last couple seasons is underwhelming, to say the least. We still had #1 offense, #2 pass offense, but defense took a significant step back. Our run game was kind of non-existent, but yeah, our pass game's a cheat code. RG3 second yards, first time, another 50 bomb, 51 touchdowns, 5,000 yards passing to 7 picks. Putting up just video game numbers. Also chipped another 2 rushing touchdowns. We had Scary Terry, 1,600 yards, 20. Obviously the records get broken all the time, the actual IRL records, but I'm pretty certain. I think 26 might be the new lead dog. 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. Stefon Diggs, 8-5. Gandy Golden, 8 touchdowns there for Jordan Reed on 700 yards. Jabril Peppers with the team of tackles. 11 sacks, Vita Vea, 10.5 Nick Bosa, 8 from Ryan Kerrigan. And the INTs ain't too bad. And that is correct. Scary Terry now holds the record for most receiving touchdowns in a single season with 26. Absolutely insane. RG3 gets his second MVP award, only one behind Andrew Luck from our first 20-year rebuild with Luck and the Colts. Scary Terry gets Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. Ooh. So, I mean, gaining goal. I remember when he was coming out of Liberty. He was like an interesting wide receiver prospect. So, kind of good for him. We got Joe Burrow on the Rams. Henry Ruggs on the Carolina Panthers. What a perfect match that is. Defensively here, we got obviously AJ Terrell runner. AJ Terrell finishes ahead of Chase Young. That's got to be worth something there to make us feel good. Derek Brown on the Cowboys. That's an annoying pick for them to go get. A road playoff game. Not something that we've had to ignore too much over the last couple years, but let's see if we can be the road dogs here. Embrace the environment. 50-plus touchdowns for RG3 in the offense. Did not expect 3 points. Just a FUBAR year, I guess? A year that nothing makes sense. You know, whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter and nothing makes sense. Our team overall does not matter. I mean, that was mostly garbage time that we made that score look a little more respectable. Damn. You know, hey, 50 touchdowns for fucking what? To play like dog shit in the playoffs. What a bad year. We appreciate legends. Ryan Kerrigan, final campaign as a Washington's 112 TFLs, 92.5 sacks. Was solid. Never really took the game over and became like a premier pass rusher. But really, that's probably been the only kind of disappointing thing. Is our pass rush certainly has felt like it's had a ceiling. The 1 year Vita Vea went off was sick. Other than that, edge rushers have been solid to good at best. All right, so for our challenge loss, tried to go over a perfect season. Lost it in week 1. Did lose to a lot of teams, so like the pool of teams that get to steal Sam Cosmi from us in the second round. I think it's going to be the Packers here. They selected center Josh Myers in that second round. He was probably one of the worst picks in the entirety of the second round, so we're getting unneeded and unwanted center depth. Free agency the last couple years has been a nothing burger. I don't want to just add it to every single year of this video when I'm just shoot the shit about how bad free agency is. Like, we have a couple needs, but like it's been a bunch of years where it's like you get a lot of low 80s, pretty much 30-year-old players that aren't going to be needle movers for us whatsoever. Will be cool, however, here to see where does old Ryan Kerrigan end up going. And his time. I mean, classic. Go retire down in Florida. So take a look at a draft recap. I think there is definitely something up with Stefon Diggs. I bet you Myers. Our punishment pick is a UDFA right now. We'll go sign him. We actually got, decent ratings. I knew Derek Forrest would probably be solid. 68. Seems pretty reasonable. Everyone else, like mid-low 60s, is fine. De'Ami Brown, 71. Maybe a little generous. Has a dev trait. Okay, Shadow never made this draft class. We will gladly take that rating. 69 on Ben St. Juste. Just normal. And then Jamin Davis. Some players, like, in these draft classes have clearly been punished for, like, being known busts. Jamin Davis came in, athletic freak of nature. Kind of a hybrid. No one knew if he was going to be a pass rusher. Off-ball linebacker. It's kind of like you put him in the pool of like the Micah Parsons what if. We might have a chance to kind of rewrite history here a little bit. That is, we got an outstanding player. There we go. The power of magic. Our terrible bust pick in the second round. Josh Myers is right where he belongs. Last year was just like the needed wake-up call we needed. Going into year 11, our draft class is... I thought at the time it wasn't a brutal draft class. I thought Sam Howell was a great value pick at that time. Brian Robinson obviously had some solid ups with the Washington team before he got traded, and Jahan Dotson made a couple big catches for the Eagles during his run, got a Super Bowl ring out of it, but absolutely did not live up to billing of a first-round pick. So we certainly need to hit our challenge because there is not one pick in this whole class that I have locked in. It's like, that is a gotta-have-it pick. So our challenge, last year we said undefeated season. This year, let's get back to the Super Bowl as one, and just so that we spice it up a little bit, not just do that for the third time. Back to the Super Bowl. Don't have to win it. Just get back because we need a bounce-back year. I want another 50 touchdowns for RG3. 2 years in a row of 50 touchdowns. Let's make it 3. Things look pretty good at the bye week. 7-2, not undefeated, not perfect. We actually just lost to the Saints, who have a high-scoring, high-powered offense, but we're looking good offensively where we need to be. Stefon Diggs, pretty much blank check. You're going to be here your whole career. Vita Vea, also probably blank check. Probably not too far away there. Jordan Reed, another guy I'd love to. I don't love the years on that contract, but when you have your salary cap at a position that we have our salary cap at, you can kind of keep the gang together. I think Tremaine Johnson on a 1-year deal, because our corner room still doesn't have great depth, is going to be worth bringing back. I don't think we're too far away. There's another lifer here in Trent Williams. Like, I need him to follow the 49ers path of just playing to your 40. That would be pretty sick. K1 Short's also been a very good player for us. We get him on a 2-year and have him be a one-club man and retire as a Washington's. I think the same goes for old Alfred Morris. Even if he, like, falls down the depth chart. I know Antonio Gibson is probably hot on his tails. The all-time leading rusher. Why not kind of keep that in the building when it's just like a laughable amount of money? So we'll come back to the table here, and I think we're going to lock in Tremaine Johnson and Vita Vea long term. So the interview number 11, we go 12-5 with the number 1 offense, number 2 pass offense, feeling pretty good. Our challenge this year is to make a Super Bowl. We are certainly on track for that. Didn't get the 1 seed, though. Some of the Rams at the tiebreaker. We only had 40 touchdowns. Was not a year for a 50 bomb for RG3. It was a 2-parter. I probably should have just stuck with make the Super Bowl. It was first in the league, so he might still end up winning MVP and getting his 3rd MVP, but setting the goal of getting 3 straight 50 pass touchdown seasons. Unfortunately, we weren't even close. Still, Scary Terry putting up video game numbers. Stefon Diggs, really good. Dami Brown, great in his rookie campaign. Jordan Reed, not so. I mean, we just paid him some money here. Definitely want a little bit more production. On the defense side, Cole Holcomb leads the team in tackles. 13 sacks, Vita Vea, 11.5 Nick Bosa, 10.5 for K1 Short. Montez Sweat's been a little bit of, I don't know if he gets a contract extension, to be honest with you. You got to earn it. Tremaine Johnson, shout out him. Been a hell of a developmental story for us. Leads the team with 4 picks. Yeah. I mean, it's weird when you set a goal for 50 touchdowns and you fail the goal. Feels like a down year, and he still wins MVP. But our 3rd MVP for RG3, equaling Andrew Luck. So now the next challenge, and I'm ready to tell you right now, that's going to be our goal next year, is to win our 4th MVP and kind of set a pace car for these 20-year rebuilds of what quarterback performance can look like. Once again, Scary Terry wins Offensive Player of the Year and a Wide Receiver of the Year. But some of the rookies, Trevor Lawrence is a 49er. Dami Brown, runner-up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And else there. Defensive Rookie there goes to Greg Newsome on the Bears. J.C. Horns on the Dallas Cowboys. Pat Surtain is on the Detroit Lions. Let's get a little sneaky Kicker of the Year award. Younghoe Koo, let's go. So we got an NFC East battle here in the wild card rounds. We look to run the gauntlet and get back into a Super Bowl. Try to salvage this year, because our Super Bowl window is RG3's get up there. It's he's getting up there. I don't even know if he's 30 yet, but Father Time, you get a strike with the iron's hot. I want to win 7 Super Bowls if we can, and we're gonna win those closer to RG3's prime than in the later part of his career. So we're pulling ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles here at home. There's levels to this. The Commanders have dominated the NFC East since RG3 has entered the league. And this result here in the playoffs is further proof of that. Dropping 40. Hell yeah. Division round, we get the 10-7 Minnesota Vikings. Very impressive 91 rated defense. Pretty good team overall. Number 2 offense number. This should be a high-scoring shootout. But in a high-scoring shootout, I trust our offense to score points, and I trust that our defense, I don't care that their defense is technically higher rated. I trust our defense, who has been there, who's done that, who's won Super Bowls, to find a way to win. And in a battle of the number 1 and number 2 scoring offense, 0-0. Huh. All right, this is super weird. Let's just get out with an ugly win. When things don't make sense, just get out. There we go. 14-7, number 1, number 2 offense. Quick reminder there. Neither one of our defenses played particularly good, but when we needed to, Lamar Jackson could not outduel RG3. We get to take on the 1 seed, get to find out who the best team is, the actual best team is in the NFC. 1 seed versus 2 seed in the St. Louis Rams. You got Mike Evans with a top 5 offense, top 3 rushing offense, top 2 passing defense. Could be an interesting matchup. All right, NFC Championship. I might hop in here. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm feeling a little antsy. You get our fingers on the seat. I mean, it's just been two missed challenges in a row. No Super Bowls. We don't really have much going for us. This game's looking in hand, so it's not like we're the reason why we win. So let's just come in and knock some cobwebs off. Let's see how good this RG3 Scary Terry combo is. Can we find Scary Terry? Top of the screen. Let's send him deep. There's no safety over top. Just float that in. Ooh. Hell of a PBU there by 2-6. Good for you. Well, make me look like an ass. How about this play? This is one where I think Stefon Diggs in the backfield. Oh, yeah, I love this one. How about this? How about that right in the middle? Oh, because you had a 51 covering 99, one of the best wide receivers in the league. Get a guy at number 51. Trying to hang with him downfield. We're going to pick on that matchup all day long. This is for the Super Bowl to make it. And you put D lineman in coverage. It's Stefon Diggs. The right team wins comfortably 34-16. 4 touchdowns for RG3. Sending Joe Burrow and the Rams home. It is going to be a Washington-New York Super Bowl. They're also, I mean, anytime we can run into a team that's 90 plus or better, got to respect it. That is a lot of green. They honestly might have had a better year than us. What do they have going on? They got Todd Gurley, Alshon Jeffrey, Fletcher Cox. A lot of Philadelphia Eagle influence. Geno Smith's a 90. He's worked out. Alshon, Mecole Hardman, O.J. Howard. Kind of a who's who of like didn't really work out. Lane Johnson. All right, Eagles. Lane Johnson, Brian Burns, Fletcher Cox. Michael Kendricks, another Eagle. Miles Jack in this world panned out. That's funny. Chaz Henry also was an Eagle for a minute. All right, we got the New York Eagles. We're a team that just I don't know. Now that we've got the Super Bowls that we've had, with how many years we have left the Super Bowl, I think we need 5 minimum. So let's do it. Let's get another one here. Very winnable matchup against it. Oh yeah, it's not even. I mean, I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, but 17-6 feels pretty good. They're only getting field goals and taking long drives. We're getting long drives, killing the game off here. And it is going to be good news. 31-15. Washington is once again Super Bowl champions, and we are already starting to have the conversation. Is RG3 in this timeline going to go down as the greatest quarterback in NFL history? We saw him dominate at Baylor. And in this world, did not have to deal with the injuries, did not have to deal with the incompetence of the Dan Snyder era Washington football team. He comes in here, gets 2 absolute cheat codes at wide receiver in Stefon Diggs and Scary Terry. Jordan Reed, also an elite level tight end. You got Trent Williams at tackle, Brendan Scherf at tackle, 2 superstar tackles. You got this team's all-time leading rusher and Alfred Morris in the backfield. A defense full of studs at every single level. And by the time we're done this rebuild, we maintain this pace. Another obvious Super Bowl MVP for RG3. This may be the standard organization now. No more. We're going to be talking about all the Steelers and the 49ers and all the Super Bowls they have. It's going to be Washington when we are done today's video, I think. So that now makes it the 2017 Super Bowl, the 2018 Super Bowl, the 2019 Super Bowl, and now the 2021 Super Bowl. 4 and counting. 4 MVPs for RG3. Ooh, knowing that we're not going to be able to upgrade our pick, we failed our challenge. Losing Alfred Morris, who did just eclipse, obviously we couldn't see the stats, did just eclipse 10,000 yards rushing, and he had 101 career rushing touchdowns, which, I mean, we can go look at that in just a second because he's our record all-time holder. And then Trent Williams retires after 12 years. Like 6 years before he's retiring in real life, potentially this offseason. That's kind of lame. And as you can see, yeah, just almost 11,000 rushing yards for Alfred Morris, and he retires. All-time leader there, 101 in rushing touchdowns. We also have our first regression. Signs of it for RG3, falling from 99 down to a 98 overall, 32 years old, year 10 in the league. Still, obviously, an insane player. We're coming into free agency. We need a left tackle. We do not have a left tackle in sight in the draft, so we got to pick one of these guys, or a right tackle that we could flip to left tackle. Looking at the names that are available, Ryan Clady is an X Factor. It's a rental. Charles Leno, Marcus Moses, Eric Flowers, Russell Okun. Okay, looks a little bit better on this side. What do we got? We go down here, Rod Johnson. Got Rob Havenstein. Any of these guys scheme fits? Taylor Moton is a scheme fit. I'd rather actually go with the scheme fit than not. Let's go. Yeah, we'll go 2-year deal, and we'll bring that up to like 7.5 and 5. Somewhere in that range should be good. Can you come, please, be our new tackle? Let's go. The weird thing for missing our challenge is, like, who's the player that gets stolen? I think it's probably a toss-up between Jahan Dotson and Brian Robinson. It's going to be easier to find worse busts, I think, in the 3rd round than Brian Robinson, who can be like a low-end starting running back in the league, than it is like finding a worse first-round pick than Jahan Dotson. So, yeah, B-Rob in the 3rd round is going to be the pick we lose. We're going to get something known as a Logan Bruss, Wisconsin guard, 3rd-round pick for the Rams. Here's a look at it. I mean, we need to have a fun draft here. We're a couple lemons in a row. I mean, to get like Sam Howell, 67. All these guys, no one has a depth trade. So 67 normal, 66 normal on Percy Butler. Logan Bruss, our losing challenge selection, 63 normal. Tied for the worst player of our class. Phil Mathis, 66. John Dotson at least gives us like a 70-plus rated player, but he's going to be so buried on our depth chart. It's not even funny. He's not seeing the light of day. All right, year 12 into the dirty dozen. Our team feels good. I mean, we are starting to feel, even if it's only from a 99 down to a 98, but the regression for RG3 is there. I'd like to think that, you know, the super team that we have around him offensively will be able to navigate whatever potential regression there could be. Our coach determined that Scherf at left tackle is the play and keeping Mona at right tackle, but feel pretty decent about the offensive line. Defensively, I think I'd really love to see like Nick Bosa just turn it up. Like Vita Vea has been the most consistent pass rusher on our team. That's fine. He's a monster, but at some point Nick Bosa needs to live up to the hype of he's Nick freaking Bosa, and I need to see, you know, we're in year 12. I'd love to see 12 sacks out of Nick Bosa, but that is not going to be our goal for this season. Our draft, I mean, we've had 3 drafts in a row that have been absolute butt cheeks. And, well, you know, there's a reason why I think so many people want to see a Commanders, Washington, whatever you want to call them, 20-year rebuild, because there's a lot of bad draft classes in here. And here's another one. Emmanuel Forbes, Quan Martin, Ricky Stromberg, KJ Henry. Like, there's a legit argument that Chris Rodriguez is the biggest contributor on this list still to the Commanders. So yeah, we need to hit our challenge. And I'm going to make it a simple one, but still challenging within the context of everything. Let's make the Super Bowl, not win it. Let's make the Super Bowl, and let's finish with a top 5 offense points per game. 2 definitely doable challenges, but can we do 2? And go 2 for 2, we'll see. Just about mid-season, I think it feeds into the narrative that we're starting to see some regression for RG3. So to make sure like all signs are good, top 5 offense. We have the number 1 offense, and to put those doubters to silence, 5 touchdowns, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground for RG3, and a huge divisional win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Looking at our contracts, I'm glad we have $200 million because we're going to get Scary Terry. We're probably not too far away, but this is going to be it right here. Look at this. Boom. RG3. Bump that bonus up and he'll sign. So our money needs to go to these 2 guys. Everybody else, like Bosa hasn't really earned it, man. I'd hate to say we let him walk. This is, I mean, let's get the big 2 dogs here re-signed and see how much money we have. Because we can't let everybody walk. All right, we got Scary Terry on his 6-year deal. RG3 wants the bonus to come up a little bit, so I literally can't make it go up anymore, sir. So how about an extra $1 million? I can't work on the bonus, sir. This is glitched, I guess. I just keep giving him more money, and he just wants a bonus. I give you max bonus. Oh, okay, it's bugged, so franchise tag. I don't know what the fuck that number's going to be. But, great. Thanks, Madden. And then the week after telling me to go fuck myself, we're 8-0. He goes 6 touchdowns through the air. Like, that franchise tag is going to be like $100 million. Like, I want to re-sign more players. I think, honestly, we have to wait till the final negotiation period so we can franchise tag him and just see what we have to work with. Because we can't get to a spot where I have no money to franchise tag him. Well, as long as we make the Super Bowl, we're going to achieve our challenge. We finished with the number 1 offense in the league, 28.1. That's a hell of a year, but that's kind of surprising that's number 1. Usually it's like around 30. Number 1 pass offense, number 2 defense overall, 15-2. We win the 1 seed. We're not even counting NFC East titles at this rate. RG3 leading passer, 45 touchdowns. Scary Terry, disgusting. AJ Terrell finally has a breakout campaign there. Love to see that. RG3 first in yards, first in touchdowns. Looks to be a 5-time NFL MVP if I'm going to take a guess. Run game was, it is what it is. Diggs gets his 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. De'Ami Brown, Jordan Reed with a nice bounce back campaign, almost like double the yards he had a year ago. But Scary Terry is an absolute cheat code. I think this is like a dream scenario for Washington fans of like, what if? Obviously, this is on the extreme end, but like, what if RG3 worked out and he got to play with Scary Terry? Like how 2 players that were deprived of each other, right? You can make the argument that RG3 never really had a lot of crazy weapons, even when he was healthy, and you can make the argument Scary Terry, how many years of his prime was wasted when Washington didn't have a legitimate quarterback. So we paired them together, and they have been playing off each other very, very well. Joel Peppers had an insane season, kind of a do-it-all year. 8 sacks, Vita Vea, 7.5 Montez Sweat, 7 for Pepper. Like, there's why I can't pay Bosa 100 and some. I know from keeping a roster together standpoint, you don't want to let a 92 superstar hit. It's just not worth the money. We can't pay everybody. And I don't know. It goes against everything in my brain about what a rebuild needs. We just aren't going to be a defense that needs $400 million pass rush. Shout out AJ Terrell, hell of a year. And it is MVP number 5 for RG3. Already 2 more than what we got with Andrew Luck in our Colts rebuild. Mike Shanahan also gets his 3rd Coach of the Year award. Pretty much every year he's been in the league, I think, not even pretty much every year he's been in the league, Scary Terry's been Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. Going to where some of the rookies went. Chris Olave is a Philadelphia Eagle. Drake London on the Detroit Lions. We have George Pickens on the Panthers. Aiden Hutchinson is a Panther. Trent McDuffie on the Bucks. Derek Stingley on the Cowboys. Kyle Hamilton on the Bears. Big time weird alternate universe scenarios we got going on. Damn, I thought Terrell would get that. So now not a lock necessarily that he'll go up a dev trade, but I really would love to see him make the jump from star to superstar. We start our journey here to get and achieve our challenge by we need 2 wins. Divisional round against the Atlanta Falcons. Pretty well-built team. Number 1 offense against the number 2 offense. I think big advantage, though, goes to our defense. Defense wins championships. Let's see it. Come on. Really want to upgrade. I will say, in hindsight, if we do have to go with Emmanuel Forbes, these draft classes haven't been brutal for, like, first-round busts. So, like, there's a chance, like, we might actually need a corner. And you could do a lot worse than Emmanuel Forbes, but I don't really want to start like planning a cope session here. We should have, when you have the number 1 offense, number 2 defense, that is like bare minimum, at least make the Super Bowl with a chance to go win it all. Atlanta's keep it tough though. I mean, there's a chance that the Falcons, based off those ratings that they had, could be the toughest team we meet this entire playoff round. So I'm not going to take it as a slight that we didn't impressively beat them, but win's a win. RG3 played very, very well. Standing between us and an upgraded pick is the 12-5 Arizona Cardinals, 89s across the board, and this is a top 5 offense, not bad defense. Saquon Barkley, Joey Bosa, how come their Bosa is better than our Bosa? That's not right. We kind of need this, man. We're at a spot with our rebuild where our roster is getting very expensive, and we need some good, young, cheap draft picks that are going to be able to keep this thing going when we reach present day and into the future. Because, like, RG3 is going to retire. We do not have a quarterback successor in place. We're probably going to get to a point where we can't afford to pay Stefon Diggs and keep, like, $500 million in Diggs and Scary Terry at wide receiver. Need something else in the pipeline there a little bit. Offensive line. We already just lost Trent Williams. Didn't have a successor in place. We're about to lose probably Bosa and Montez Sweat. Going to retool our pass rush. How good would that be? And that's what exactly we're going to be able to do. Now, it has to line up with, like, who we could steal. But in my brain right now, that is going to be the move. In a dream scenario, we could flip one of our selections, and one of the teams we beat this year has a big-time edge rusher that we could get come in. But hell of a win, man. RG3 lights out. We're back in the Super Bowl. We got a little bit of a toss-up for who our upgrade's going to be. Instead of Emmanuel Forbes, we could steal Jalen Carter from the Philadelphia Eagles. It depends how we're going to use him. My argument is that it seems like our defensive tackles are more a part of our pass rush than our edge rushers are. And if Nick Bosa and Montez Sweat can't get the pass rush going. Maybe there's going to be more value in investing and having Vita Vea and Jalen Carter kind of take over games. Or we could steal Will Anderson Jr. from the Houston Texans. And that's just going the edge rusher route. I think it makes sense to do this way just from a depth chart perspective because, is there a chance that there's overkill at D-tackle and we bring in Jalen Carter and by proxy makes Vita Vea less productive? We'll make that call when we get through the draft. It's going to be one of those two guys. And the Super Bowl is set, and it's a below 500 Buffalo Bills team. We need to fuck these guys up. We got 5 MVPs for RG3, and we're looking to make it 5 Super Bowls, as well as 5 Super Bowl MVPs. Which, I mean, undisputedly, this would make RG3 the greatest quarterback of all time. I think, obviously, Tom Brady played till he's 47, so, like, the total yards and stuff like that, no chance. But no one really brings up Brady's longevity stats. We talk about what he was able to do in winning at his peak, his ceiling. And boys, 5 Super Bowls in 12 seasons. 5 MVPs in 12 seasons. I mean, we didn't like the scoreboard up, so I'm not going to say it's 5 Super Bowl MVPs in 12 seasons. But I think it's fair to say every 20-year rebuild is going to be measured to the success we've had here with Washington and Robert Griffin III. This one, we'll never want to take an awards ceremony for granted. Get up there on the podium, enjoy, celebrate. But this is going to be it. And obviously, this is our window. And with the weird contract discussions that went on with RG3, there's a chance that things could maybe this is the beginning of a little bit of a mini rebuild because we're about to lose some talent. Let's see who gets the MVP here. RG3, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 280 yards, 97 yards for Gibson in a touchdown, 100 for Scary Terry, 10 catches. It might be advantage Scary Terry, 2 sacks, K1 short, ageless wonder. Had a nice INT by AJ Terrell, his 7th combined of the season. I mean, let's be honest. It's a quarterback award. They'd be giving that to RG3 again. So 5 MVPs, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 5 Super Bowls. Is RG3 the GOAT? Wow, an actual... Sudberg was our long snapper when I started this rebuild. He went the greatest long snapper of all time. It's not even close. All right, so here, let's figure this out. Franchise tag at RG3's $88 million. So that brings us down to 62 total. We have the 5th-year option on AJ Terrell, which are decline. But man, we got contracts coming up here, like starters. So Zaire Franklin starter, we're gonna have to move on. Rashad Breeland, 83. I think it's not gonna be too bad. Well, he's told us go fuck yourself. I guess you won too many Super Bowls. Is that what's going on? Montez Sweat, looking at his career stats, it's just he is coming off his best year, 11 TFL, 7.5 sacks. Cole Holcomb at linebacker. He's actually been solid, but maybe we just let Jamin Davis kind of be a little bit of a career revival there because that's a lot of money for an off-ball linebacker. And then it's just like, maybe we just pay Nick Bosa? We pay Nick Bosa, we let Montez Sweat walk, and we go Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, one of the two. Looking at Will Anderson, elites in everything. We got B power, B tackle, probably all Bs, 4 Bs across the board. Or we have Jalen Carter, B block shed, B power, A tackle, C finesse, all elites. Oh my god. My hot take, I think we got to go. I think you got to know your schemes. And our scheme is always going to run through the defensive tackles. Jalen Carter, number 2 in true value. We got the depth. I'm going to line him up at defensive end. Right? We still have K1 Short and Vita Vea. I'm just going to fucking put him at DN. And then with K1 Shorts, like 32, 33, there's our succession plan. It's just, it's the way to think about it is like, if we were doing an offense, it's like, do we go Saquon Barkley or do we go A.J. Brown? We have an option to get either one. And it's like, we've never been a run-first team. So even if Saquon Barkley is going to be an 85 superstar rookie and A.J. Brown might be a 78 superstar, we're always going to be a passing offense. A.J. Brown just gives us a lot more value for our scheme. I think our scheme runs through the D tackles for getting after the quarterback. Hopefully, we're not overthinking this. So take a look at our draft recap. Ends up being, again, kind of like most of our drafts. All like mid-low 60s. Jatavis Martin, Quad Martin, 69. Not terrible. Like, I'll take that for a pick that hasn't particularly aged well, but then steal it away from the Philadelphia Eagles in real life. I hope this works out. Jalen Carter, on his day, is the best defensive player in the NFL. We just got to find that consistency and keep them locked in on the field. So we're at a spot where we didn't have enough money in free agency to kind of fill out the roster. We do not have a starting caliber guard. So I had to flip De'Ami Brown, 84 star to have wide receiver on a rookie contract, and then Scott, who was a depth safety, and we're able to flip him to the Saints to get a guard in Michael Onwenu, 85 star dev, so a win-win trade for both teams. Saints' biggest need was wide receiver. So here's a look at how we're going to line up this season. Had to get a little creative. Gibson, full-time running back. Again, obviously, we feel good about the wide receivers. We had Michael Onwenu to the offensive line. So, we go from, Jahan Dotson now has an opportunity as a wide receiver 3 because we got rid of De'Ami Brown, but we've severely improved our offensive line by bringing in Michael Onwenu. And he still has, I think, 2 or 3 years left on his deal, so don't have to worry about that contract. So that looks good. This looks absolutely like a Super Bowl caliber offense. Might be a little more difficult this season, though. We are starting to key positions get a little thin via draft or salary cap limitations. Defensively, here's what I ended up doing. Technically, K1 Short's 295 pounds. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. You're going to be the guy that kind of moves outside, veteran role, rotation, whatever you want to call it. We're going to have Jalen Carter, Vita Vea, Nick Bosa primarily at pass rush. A little worried about our linebackers. John Davis has to step up. And we'll have Jabril Peppers in subset. Those are going to be our 2 linebackers, and Cam Curl can step in at strong safety. Terrell peaking at the right time, coming off his best season, goes from star to superstar in the offseason, expecting that to continue. Little bit of worry at corner depth, though. We got Ben St. Juste. I just signed Kendall Sheffield off free agency for a 1-year rental. But, there was a reason why I said, honestly, if we screwed up last year and we had to draft Emmanuel Forbes, would have worked out because we are lacking corner depth just a little bit. But, feeling pretty good. We don't really have surplus players that I could trade for a corner right now. So we got to hope they can figure it out. So looking at our class, it's actually a really good one. That's my plan, would be to, if we achieve our challenge, bring in Jaden Daniels and pull an Aaron Rodgers. He might have to sit for a year or 2 until RG3 decides to hang him up. But that's a hell of a plan. Or if RG3 continues to be glitched, I don't think there's a way in hell that we can Kirk Cousins him and franchise tag him for a second straight season. I don't think we have the money. So that would work out well for Jaden Daniels. Juzon Newton could be a dude D-line. I like Bank Sammer still at corner. He would be real nice corner depth for us to bring in. Sinnott could be solid. Coleman still could be a starting lineman in this league. I mean, in terms of some of the draft classes that we have had, this is definitely one of the better ones. Even if you're removing the context that Jaden Daniels was a hit and kind of looks like a franchise quarterback, you're hoping if he can get back being healthy. The question for me is, what the hell should our challenge be this year? We've done everything. I don't want to make it win the MVP with RG3 and win the Super Bowl. That's insane. That is still, while it feels like it's the norm, that's literally the outside of saying undefeated season. How about make the Super Bowl and RG3 MVP? Instead of having to win it, it gives us a little bit of leeway there. Make the Super Bowl, win MVP. That's still a pretty much S-tier challenge, because there's going to come a point in time where RG3 just regresses. And if it ends up being this year, we're fucking losing Jaden Daniels. So I think that adds a little bit of intrigue here. But don't tell that to RG3. We start and, it's not a crazy stat line, but for Peppers to be hat trick of picks, RG3 right away, is he starting to regress? I'm going to get player of the week. Feeling pretty good. Pretty optimistic. We're just over mid-season here. 9-2 offensively. First points, second in yards. RG3, we need the MVP. He has only 10 more touchdowns. I mean, assuming that Mahomes or Taylor Heineke, assuming one of those two are up there, we could be looking pretty good for that MVP award. But we still have to make the Super Bowl. But I have more concerns. My salary cap is a concern for me. Starts with this man. Literally couldn't pay him last year. I can't give you a better bonus. I literally cannot. Sir, we can get Terrell on a 6-year, need him. I'd like to keep Cam Curl. See if we just like round that up. Is that enough? Probably close, because Cam Curl works really well with how we want to utilize Jabril Peppers. I thought he had years on his deal. Owenu. Shit. Well, I think that's just... No one wants to stay. You guys are winning too fucking greedy. Let's get Shrift, the superstar tackle, 3-year. And then, I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. We can't afford to... Again, it's just another year of, like, we have to do whatever it takes with RG3. I don't know why it won't let me give him more bonus, but, I mean, come on now. I literally just gave him the biggest deal I could give him, and it's still another year of increasing the bonus. So, I guess we're franchise tagging him again and dealing with fallout. All right, since it was more of a that's broken than it is a haha, that's a fun challenge that we were dealing with RG3's contract extension, I was able, through the power of my franchise tool, the very awesome mod that goes along with Madden PC franchise, I was able to give RG3 the $430 million deal he would have accepted without the I want a bigger bonus glitch. Still gave him the $60 million bonus as well, so we got him locked in for the next 4 seasons. So to close of the year, we actually lost 2 in a row. We go 13-4. I thought we were 15 wins locked in. Number 2 offense, number 1 passing offense. Defense, however, little bit of, we lost a lot. I had to work through it. But, I mean, RG3 absolutely crushed it. Scary Terry absolutely crushed it. RG3 first in passing yards, first in touchdowns, first in contract, I assume, after that big-time extension we gave him. Gibson was complimentary. 1,600 yards, 22 touchdowns for Scary Terry, 1,200 yards for Stefon Diggs. Dotson and Reed were solid. Defensively, Pepper's a tackle machine. Jamin Davis has certainly turned his career around. 20, it worked out in a way. In a way, Bosa's still frustratingly not that guy. K1 short. Jalen Carter, 6.5 sacks as a rookie. I'm going to assume having Jalen Carter out there made Vita Vea this unstoppable. 88 tackles, 12 TFLs, 21 sacks from a 350-pound nose tackle. That has got to be Defensive Player of the Year. If not, I don't know what it is. Look at Jamin Davis, 6 INTs. 5 for Jabril Peppers. Let's go. Our first of 2 challenges, RG3, Chick 6th MVP award. We make the Super Bowl. We achieve our challenge. Again, he just does it every year. Offensive Player of the Year, Wide Receiver of the Year, Scary Terry. Absolutely. Defensive Player of the Year going to Vita Vea. The rookies, JSN goes to the Falcons. Very interesting. Defensively, Jalen Carter wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Love to see that. Got Jack Campbell on the Dallas Cowboys. Will Anderson way down at number 7. That was kind of the decision for us. I think we made the right call, but obviously Jalen Carter's on a much better defense than what Will Anderson is. We also get Jabril Peppers winning Defensive Back of the Year. What a pick he was. He was a punishment pick, a challenge loss pick, and he has carved himself out into a just elite hybrid player. Nice little NFC East divisional battle in the division round. We get the 11-6 Giants with their 91 rated defense. Could be tricky. By the time you got the MVP quarterback and this unstoppable offense, you think, and anything's possible. Low score though. All right, we get our first touchdown off a turnover. Up 10-zip. I mean, almost feels like 17 could be enough to get this one across the line. New York scores a touchdown. Make it maybe interesting in the 4th quarter, but you can't. You have to play. Ooh, they almost made. I was gonna say you have to play perfect football to beat us. That is how good our team is. And they made a little sweaty near the end, but 27-21, we knock off the Giants, and we're 1 win away from achieving our challenge and getting to upgrade a pick. We get the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC Championship. They had Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. They got Aaron Donald. They got Trey White, Nick Chubb. They are very good. They got more green than we got in their ratings. Balanced team, good offense, good defense. This could be tough. Very, very tough. Come on, man. I mean, the easiest way to look at it, we win, we get Jaden Daniels, and we have our succession plan in place. We lose, and we are screwed if RG3 at any point to close out the final years of this rebuild decides to surprisingly retire. We have no quarterback. I mean, maybe Sam Howell, I guess, could be a thing, but I think we should be able to win this one. This is probably your Super Bowl, though. Probably the 2 best teams meeting up. Let's watch this drive. Can we do it? Oh, I think maybe we come in once here on 4th down. 4th and 10 on our 30. Maybe just get a little pass there to Jordan Reed. Flick it over the linebacker. Oh, and he mosses him. Okay, there you go. There's your little boost. RG3's beat up. -4 to his throw power. The wear and tear is adding up for RG3. Well, we helped them out a little bit, get that first down. Can they do the rest? Perhaps, oh, fuck! Oh. Yep. There goes Jaden Daniels. Or maybe RG3 just never retires. That'd be cool. Carson Wentz did what? Ooh, couple legends. Hang them up. K1 Short and Jordan. Oh, I wish I would have been able to get the final stat line for those guys. Damn. Best I can do is show how freaking good Jordan Reed was. RG3 has regressed down to a 96. Still, you know, I mean, he could still get 3-4 more years. And we might have other opportunities to get quarterbacks. There's other depth traits. Everything else remains the same. But now we have, obviously, a huge downgrade at tight end. Defensively, Jalen Carter, superstar. How does Vita Vea not go up depth trait? He literally got 4 opportunities. 4 of those things. Each one of those could pop a depth trait. I guess it's just impossible. Oh, it's so perfect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, get excited. Your potential new franchise quarterback. We are going to lose Jaden Daniels, and we're going to get the Falcons' Michael Penix. Yay. It's like, all right, and then we lost out on Cam Curl. Doesn't want to re-sign. What's the franchise tag number on that? Safety's probably isn't too crazy. $25 million. Owenu on the offensive line would be nice to keep. And he doesn't give us. Okay, what's his franchise tag? 31. That one makes a little bit more sense. We got Gibson on a 3-year. Nice. Jamin Davis is up to a superstar. But we'll decline that 5th-year option, get ahead of that contract extension. I mean, Dan Feeney's still real solid as a guard. We're not spending this money elsewhere. We want to come back and compete. We can't rebuild. That's the issue with this. We cannot be like, oh well, we're gonna have a down year. Let's rebuild. It's like, no, we gotta keep on keeping on here. That's an absolute bargain for Cyprian if he wants to continue playing. So we'll go 4 and 3.5 should be enough. Taylor Moton, that's way too much. Roulier at center. Feel like we can get cheaper for sure. So yeah, we're gonna franchise tag old Michael Owenu. So it was interesting going into free agency. We needed to add linebacker depth, so we got Shaq Quarterman. We needed a pass rusher that can come in and potentially start. We got Darrell Taylor on a 1-year deal, 77 scheme fit. Here's the weird one though. We need a left tackle. We do not have our offensive line right now. Our starting left tackle was like a 65. Sadiq Charles was a player that we drafted, and we just let him walk, and he went somewhere else. 25-77 scheme fit at right tackle. Congrats on leaving and then returning to the team as, I'm not going to call him a franchise tackle, but a new starting tackle on a Super Bowl contender. Well, we got a bug I've never seen before. We, for some reason, I've resimmed it 10. I do not have a single pick this year. For some reason, somewhere along the matrix, we do not have picks in the 2024 class. So, I mean, not to worry. Through the other tools that I have at my disposal, I will be able to give us our class as intended, just highlighting in case things look a little weird. For some reason, I have no picks this year. I might as well show you what I did. I was like, all right, let's go draft our players. And then it just does this. I don't know why I have no picks. Hopefully this is a one-off. So cool. So we are now here, year 14. Even with the worst memory, you can remember where we are right now, IRL. 2024 season. Looking at our squad, we're at that point in time where it's like any year. Any year could be RG3's final year. The regression is taking until he's 34. I've seen quarterbacks retire at 35. I think Andrew Luck retired at 35. I've seen quarterbacks play until they're 38. Usually 38 is kind of the latest. Sometimes you can kind of bug players' retirements and they'll play to like 42, 43, and then that's just, the regression gets brutal. But we need to operate this season that it could be RG3's last. And I'm going to take inspiration from what we did with Andrew Luck and the Colts for this season's challenge. But I mean, take a look at the team. We are far from a super team. Our salary cap is not in a good spot, and you can make the argument that left tackle, center, tight end, that doesn't look like Super Bowl caliber. You look at the defense, linebacking course, Jamin Davis, and we brought back Suet Cravens. We brought back Sean Dion Hamilton. Is that Super Bowl caliber? We're not getting any production out of Nick Bosa. We really need Vita Vea and Jalen Carter to pop off again. We got Darrell Taylor on the other side. Ben St. Juste is starting for us. I think we have a good team, but we got so much locked in to RG3, Stefon Diggs, and Scary Terry. Like, that's our team. Luckily, they are all freaks of nature, because our goal this season, looking at our career stats, RG3, 20 pass touchdowns. Get to 500 career passing touchdowns, an unbelievable milestone. And that is our only challenge this year. Kind of a layup for our final historic running through rewriting history type draft classes. Looking at everyone else, I mean, there's RG3, our leading rusher on our team, 2,500 yards, another 23 touchdowns. Stefon Diggs is at 12,000 yards, over 100 touchdowns. Scary Terry's pace is terrifying. 112 touchdowns in 5 seasons. He's literally averaging like 21 touchdowns a year. So that is absolutely nuts. And I do think as a team, man, we might get to a point where, like, we can't keep both these guys any longer. And obviously, we know who the option would be if we had to get to a pick and choose. We have Cyprian. It's just over 1,000 career tackles, 20 picks. I thought Peppers would have had more, but he's getting up there. I think Vita Vea has a great chance this year to get over 100 career sacks for a nose tackle. That is pretty crazy. I think Terrell is well on pace to get 20-plus INTs, which would be nice. But our goal this year is 20 passing touchdowns for RG3. And if we hit that for our final kind of recreating history draft, we could go in and improve it. Now, doesn't look like a bad draft on paper, I'm going to be honest. I mean, it's still far too early to tell if these players are going to be hits or misses. But like Josh Carnley at tackle feels like a pretty good pick. For us in particular, we'll be able to bring him in and really, we do have, and we just brought back in Shadiq Charles in free agency, but we could go there. We could also pivot off of this pick if we wanted to. I think Trey Amos in the second round, he was a guy I wanted my Eagles to get. Jalen Lane was a height, weight, speed get. Medrano, very, very fast, very athletic linebacker, and obviously Bill at running back for the value that they got him at. You got to love that. So it actually is and does look like on paper a pretty good class, but assuming RG3 hits this layup, we'll be able to upgrade one final last pick. Just about getting midseason, feels like a good spot. We're 3-2. Actually got swept by the Eagles. 2 losses, both to Philadelphia. But we bounced back with a big win over the Texans, in which we both get Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week. Shout out Jamin Davis. Instead of the ageless wonder RG3 still playing as good as any quarterback in the league. Here's where I get a little worried. Salary cap. $76 million. And we got, we got some players. We got some guys that we do not want to lose. We've also been dealing with just not great salary cap situation. Now, we have, obviously, for whatever reason, Sam linebackers are kind of glitched. So that is the one little benefit that we do get. Kind of financial assistance, if that's how you want to break it down. Jabril Peppers is an immensely valuable player to us. So we want to try to keep him here. So we will go 4-year, 118. Does it all. Hybrid linebacker, safety, production. I think when you look at Onwenu, that is just way too much money to pay for a guard, and you got to look at what's coming in the horizon, which is going to be draft classes that we no longer have to follow what the Washingtons did, so we could probably go target a guard if we need to. St. Jude's got a depth trait for whatever it is, I think that's worth, anytime you get a depth trait, it's worth developing, especially when they're right around 25, 26. You want to assume that they still got a little bit of a ceiling they could reach. I think Dan Feeney is another great representation of, we're probably not going to find much better at this price point. We actually might be able to get him a little bit cheaper than if we let him hit the open market and got into a bidding war with other teams. And Cyprian is another one, man. He is, over 1,000 tackles. I'm fine kind of like a 1-year rental thing. If he wants to come here 1 year, $6 million, let's go, man. Run it back. Just to highlight how crazy Scary Terry is. We got a tough loss. The Packers are also a 90 rated team. We could be the 2 best teams in the league right now. But you look at it, it's like, we lost 21-18. Usually you see weekly awards like, someone on defense did something. It's like, no, Scary Terry, just 12 catches, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns in an L. And then the season, we went 11-6. Not good enough to get a first round bye, but good enough to make the playoffs. Good enough to come first place and get another NFC East title in a very competitive NFC East. Suck it, Philly. The one time you'll hear me say that because they did kind of thump us twice early in the season. But we have RG3. We finished #1 offense, #2 passing offense. Defense, not too bad. Definitely not our best defense, but not too bad. Our goal for RG3 was 20 passing touchdowns. As you can see, he was second leading passer in the league. Also had 30, and also I guess now we're just finding out Drake May's on the Chiefs. I'm sure that's not going to be annoying for the rest of the rebuild. But second in yards, first in passing touchdowns for RG3. Pretty good. Gibson was complimentary. We have Scary Terry just continues to be absolute. If he's not getting 20 touchdowns, it is a disappointing season. I'm not gonna, we won't go his full career, but like I guarantee with this pace, he's tracking down and hawking down Jerry Rice's receiving records if he plays 15 years. Diggs goes over 1,000. Jahan Dotson, 3,000-yard receivers. Very good. That is not something that we've done a lot. Hell of a year. John Min Davis and Jabril Peppers both crushed it. Tackles, TFL, sacks, and picks between them. 9 sacks, Vita Vea, 6.5 Nick Bosa, 6 Taylor, 5.5 Jalen Carter. That is certainly disappointing outside of Vita Vea. Man, Nick Bosa, what a waste of money. Well, put it this way. If you ever need to make a move to free up some salary cap space, I know exactly who I'm getting rid of. And he wins another MVP. What is that? I'm honestly losing count. 7 MVPs for RG3 now? Would it be 7? We got 2017 MVP, 2019 MVP, 2020 MVP, 2021 MVP, 2022 MVP, 2023 MVP, and now the 2024 MVP. 7, the GOAT, RG3. Scary Terry just, winning Offensive Player of the Year, Wide Receiver of the Year for the 10th time in 5 years. That's possible. Look at where some of the rookies run. Brian Thomas on the Cardinals. Caleb Williams is a Detroit Lion. Jaden Daniels on the Panthers. Very interesting. Defensively, Latu on the Vikings. Mikey Sammer still making their Dallas Turner. Quinton Mitchell is a Saint. But our goal this season was for RG3 to get 500 career passing touchdowns. He shatters that, so we're going to be able to upgrade one of our picks. Hopefully, he doesn't retire. Let's keep playing. I want another 4 years at RG3. I want him to run the whole rebuild. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hop in here. If things look bad, we got to at least get 1 win, because I have vibes that are like, this could be it. This could be our final RG3 season. And if that's the case, I don't want to get bounced in the first round. We got to have a little bit more respect for our GOAT. A little bit more respect for our legend here. And I'm going to be honest, I'm also kind of thinking about experimenting, coming here, they need a little kick in the ass, with maybe a defensive coordinator change. I mean, it was one of those things before it was justifiable, because yes, it was very frustrating that Nick Bosa wasn't getting sacks, but Vita Vea was getting like 17. So I was like, all right, someone is at least eating. As we go to Luke McCaffrey. But the fact that like no one is, it feels like the last 2 years, no one's got double-digit sacks. I mean, our offense obviously vibing very, very well. But the defense is not matching the offense. So I think there could be room for it, like at least to go look at what coaches are available. I think that is what we're going to do this offseason to kind of close this rebuild out. Maybe make a little change there. We're going to be able to just go easy completion to Scary Terry. Reclaim the lead with 4 minutes. But it's that offense that's questionable. They're going to have to probably see this one out for us. And they do. They finish with an INT. Let's go. 14-10. The Commanders are moving on to the division round. Great game from RG3. Next up, we have the 10-7 Vikings, who do have a slight advantage on the defensive side of the ball. Top 10 passing offense. Dalvin Cook still there. So respect the running back room as well. But I think on paper, this should be a win, especially at home. This place is packed again. I think every game going to be a sellout, because any game could be the end of RG3, especially here in the playoffs. So it's going to be a vibes are strong environment, and we are just operating high level. Points on every single drive until there. Would have loved to even just kick the field goal. Give us a little bit of an insurance, but it's been all Vikings here in the second half. 14 straight points. Don't love that. We got a good response there. RG3 able to manufacture a drive, but we might be going to overtime here. Ooh. Not gonna lie, I thought they would let me come in and play one of those overtime snaps. Fuck! What are we doing? At what point is not our overtime drive a moment? Lamar Jackson outduels RG3. Hopefully that's not the final game of his career. Ooh, we didn't get a lot of salary cap. He might still be here. Please still be here. Let's go. He ain't done yet. He ain't going out like that. And didn't regress too bad. Like a couple spots here or there going in year 14. Looking good. Still one of the best. What's his rating overall for the quarterback? It's got to be still the number one. Looking at the rest of the team, no dev traits up or down on offense. Defensive, however, Vita Vea gets the X Factor he probably should have got a year ago. Unfortunately, obviously, Bosa's, with the way that we're playing, not going to be able to get back his superstar. Terrell keeps his superstar. Davis is now up to an X Factor. Let's go look at some DC options. Sorry, Jim Haslett. Goodbye. What is available? So we got Falcons defense, Patriots defense. Who was Eberflus with? Dallas defense. I'm not gonna lie, this is that Fisher. I mean, I don't know any of the coaching trees of these guys. Like Baltimore. Did the Ravens have a good defense? I feel like they might. So I guess we'll go Ravens defense. Actually, no, technically, we can go Giants defense. We'll try that out. They should have a good pass rush. All right, we need to properly self-scout here because we have a potential pick upgrade situation. Because the first round pick was Josh Connerly. I think Charles is an 80 overall at left tackle. Probably, doesn't have a dev trait. Connerly likely does have one. Likely, not a lock. I think you make the argument we might be able to do a little bit better there. So, tackle would make sense. I just moved Coleman here to guard, but guard could also make sense. Tight end is a big-time need for us as well if we're looking at offensive positions. Defensive positions, with our scheme change, I mean, we still need an edge rush, a pass rusher. We could use another linebacker. That's about it. So I'd say like edge rusher, tight end, tackle are probably the big gets. But then it gets interesting when we look at the potential pick options we have. We want a linebacker. We got the Eagles. That could be us stealing Jahad Campbell, who could very well be like a superstar dev player. We beat the Dallas Cowboys. That'd be able to get us Tyler Booker, a day one starting right guard for us in the first round. Not a sexy pick, but would be a potential smart pick. Want to go pass rush? Abdul Carter. We could steal him away from the Giants. Again, I think much like Jahad Campbell, I think if we're trying to chase dev traded upside with our brand new defensive scheme, that'd be setting us up pretty good. Can't get much better for a tight end upgrade. We beat the Colts, which could be us stealing Tyler Warren instead. Or just for the fun and memes, we beat the Jags, so we could steal Travis Hunter. I'm thinking in terms of just like who can we draft in this first round that would be a day one starter. I think there's three options. It's Tyler Warren from the Colts, Abdul Carter from the Giants, and Tyler Booker from the Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Booker as a guard is the least valuable of those three, so we knock it down to two. We've never really put big time tight end production once we've had Diggs and Terry McLaurin. Before that, Jordan Reed put up big time numbers for us. But now that we've had those two wide receivers, tight end just hasn't been as valuable. So I think, fellas, we are going to swipe Abdul Carter away from the New York Giants. Gable on his upside, not what he actually did in his rookie season. We dip our toes here into free agency. We get Quinn Meinerz, who's actually going to come in and play right guard for us. Not as good as he is in real life. I think he's like a 99 or something crazy like that in Madden right now. I remember when he was the standout from the Senior Bowl. But we're going to slide him in there at right guard. Yeah, we had about $40 million. That's enough to improve your team a little bit at spots that you're not going to get, incoming picks. We got Ben Sinnott, brought him back, an actual pick. We got Zach Bond, who, much like Meinerz, good player, not maybe as good as he is in real life, but for us, we're going to bring him in and we're going to make him our starting will linebacker. Fucking way. We just got hit with off-season retirement for Jonathan Cypress. Now we need a safety. This is unbelievable. Right after the first wave. Actually, you know what? I think in this circumstance, we'll let these two guys battle out. Jay Martin and Percy Butler. Best man win can start. I mean, we got options. Homegrown options. So, really happy stealing our first pick away from the New York Giants. We get Abdul Carter, ends up being number 4 in true value here in this draft class. A day one starter for us there on the other side of bosa. Can we find a freaking pass rush? Only taking us 15 years to do so. So take a look at our draft recap. Pretty strong draft, all things considered. Bill 69, nice. Madrando 66, 67 for Jalen Lane, 70 with a dev trait for Trey Amos. That is a good get to add to our secondary. But the big pick here is Abdul Carter. Can you represent, be the face of our new wave pass rush to close out this rebuild? I hope so. All right, so we are now caught up to present day, and we get to close out this rebuild, making our own history. And I'm able to kind of figure out the mods here a little bit. The trade-off is we no longer get to see Mike Shanahan's picture. But when we get to our 3 years of realistic classes, we have 2026, 2027, and 2028. We have the player portraits in-game, which for me was a little bit of an immersion killer in our Colts rebuild where I was unable to get those to generate. Looking at what we are looking at here, I mean, honestly, we may need to consider quarterback. It's not a strong quarterback class if you can't get Mendoza. So maybe we might want to wait. Hopefully, RG3 does not retire this season. But if he does, we could be aggressive. Just say screw it and try to get Mendoza. We also have Michael Penix as our backup quarterback. We got him because we lost, remember, and we didn't get Jaden Daniels. So that is certainly of interest. Running back's another position. Our running back room is certainly complimentary. Could it be better? Could we get a little bit more? Tight end would be a big upgrade. A Kenyon Sadiq would be quite the get for us to potentially target in the first round. Feel good about our offensive line for the most part. Feel good about our pass rush. Feel good about, look at our linebacking core. We added in Zach Bond for like a veteran presence, but like a CJ Allen and Anthony Hill, especially if those guys, one of them slipped to the second round. Sonny Styles, Torian York, Perkins. That could be intriguing. Jacob Rodriguez was in that Heisman conversation. Kyle Lewis, one of my favorite linebackers in the class. Certainly interesting. Our corner room, we have changed schemes, right? So we went from a zone scheme to a man scheme. Could we pair the Terrell brothers together? AJ and Avion, that could be a cool little storyline that we may need to pay attention to. But, again, pretty much every year from here on out is can we get one more year of RG3 or what we're going to experience is going to be the final year. We will find out. Hopefully not. Well, no signs of slowing down. 6-1 through 7 weeks. And when we're winning, we're putting up there like number one offense. 30, almost 34 points. Our defense is a little bit better. Maybe not, I like to be where the Giants are at, but learning a new scheme, we'll trust that maybe there's going to be a little bit of growing pains here. We have $39 million of available salary cap. And really, the only guy that's even a discussion is Nick Bosa. We're in no rush. I'll pay that. Like, we have a new scheme, right? I think we can find a way to make, around $3 million available if Nick Bosa earns a contract extension. So let's just wait and see. He's not getting it right now. Happy that there's re-sign interest. Well, it seems like getting a new defensive coordinator certainly helped. Top 5 defense. Now, the yards don't really correlate, but it's all about keeping points off the board. And the ageless wonder RG3, it's just like, I'll still get you 40 touchdowns there, boss. Don't worry about it. I got you. 3rd in yards, 1st in touchdowns. That might be another MVP, honestly. Scary Terry just crushing it. Diggs first season under 1,000. Yards got kind of spread out. Decent year for Ben Sinnott. He could develop into maybe a tight end for us, but I mean, Scary Terry just insane. Absolutely insane numbers. Defensively, Jabril Peppers continues to be elite. Davis, elite. Our sacks haven't really fixed it, to be honest with you, but 9.5 Nick Bosa, 9.5 Jalen Carter, 8 from Abdul Carter, 6 from Vita Vea. INT numbers look pretty good on the high end there, but I don't know. I don't know. We're going to probably wait till the last possible moment to make the decision there on Nick Bosa. Just might as well name it the RG3 Award. Another MVP award for the greatest of all time. Yep, I can't. We need to do a head count here. 7 years in the league, 7 Pro Bowls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 offensive players. He's won it every year. Our last little recap of where the rookies went. Kind of cool that T-Mac ends up going to the Carolina Panthers. Marion Hampton on the Panthers as well. Loveland goes to the Falcons. Defensively, Schlesinger, the Rams. Abdul Carter, runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Shamar Stewart on the Packers. Barrett on the Bucks. Walter Nolan on the Lions. Mason Graham is a Dallas Cowboy. Jahad Campbell staying in the NFC on the Saints. A very nice Defensive Back of the Year award going to Jabril Peppers. Very much deserved. We get to enjoy our first round bye, and we get a very well-built 49ers team in the division round. 10-7, but 90 overall, 91 rated offense. Christian McCaffrey, Trevor Lawrence. Now, I do look, and we know, I mean, the Niners have one of the worst playbooks going. Only 19 passing touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence. But I'm sure he's going to light it up today or find a way. Let's hope our new and improved defense shows up. Again, we're at a stage where, is this the final hurrah for RG3? I would hate to say that he would go out on winning MVP. He has had no signs of slowing down. We had that with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck did have a late season MVP, later rebuild MVP award. But like the last 2 years of Andrew Luck was like, oh, look, he's barely, struggling to get 30 touchdowns. RG3 just won in a freaking MVP. He's pulling on his Matt Stafford shit. But there we go. Defense does a job. Wasn't a pretty game, but a game that the defense at the end was able to get off the field, hold them out of the end zone, and we're moving on. Standing between us and the Super Bowl is Saquon Barkley and the Arizona Cardinals, who have a very good offense, kind of middle of them all defense. So let's see it. At home, Super Bowl on the line. First touchdown goes to the good guys. Low-scoring game. Hey, a low-scoring game means to me we made the right call switching defensive coordinators. Couldn't get a stop. But you'd like to think this MVP-led offense could get 24 here. 24 will win this game for us. 17 apparently wins the game. The Commanders are back in the Super Bowl. 17-10. Defense. Defense showing up. That was the difference maker in this one. An RG3 lead. Hey, he moved the football. He did what he needed to do, and we're back in the Super Bowl. We get the 10-7 Cincinnati Bengals here in the Super Bowl. Not a single green rating there. What do they look like? Because they don't have Joe Burrow. They didn't get Joe Burrow. They're doing like a whole different thing here. They got Mac Jones, and they got Cam Ward. So they're kind of doubling up at quarterback there. They got Josh Jacobs and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jesus. Okay. Jerry Jeudy, Hollywood Brown, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase ended up there. That's always cool. Irv Smith, who actually I think went to the Bengals. Jackson Powers-Johnson, Joe Tooney. So pretty good offensive line. Defensively, that defensive front is Derek Harvin. They're solid. It's definitely pretty good. Patrick Queen's a 95 rated linebacker. Secondary, you got Sidney Jones, Dante Jackson, Xavier McKinney's a 95. It's good. That's definitely a good team. Far from a super team, though. Not worried. We're going to get another Super Bowl here. Cash one in. Absolutely, I feel like maybe a time or two hopping in. Let's see if we get the walkout, though. In case it's RG3's final hurrah, which I feel like 50-50. Let's get the scenes of him leading out this team here. Here we go for one last Super Bowl. Potentially that man right there, the greatest of all time. Let's see what happens. Opening drive, the Bengals on the board first. It is 4th and 1. That sounds like the perfect time for me to come up. But trying to steal it drive. We will go cross drag. Clock is running. Late first quarter. I want Scary Terry there for a touchdown. If the offensive line holds up, that is going to be a touchdown. He gets behind the defense. We lead him. Scary Terry tiptoes down the sideline. That is the greatest on pace wide receiver of all time with the greatest quarterback of all time. Defense gets a stop. We march down the field, get a leading field goal here into the second half. Defense is showing up here time and time again. Instant score for us, up 4. This is where I want to see if we can score, and then we're going to come in for like this last drive here at some point. Come on, let me get in. Let me get in. Tag me in, coach. We're going to overtime. Okay. Let's do this. All right. Regardless of what we do, they can still continue this. Let's do this here. We'll go Diggs. Old man Diggs. How's that not a first down? RG3, good showing so far. Not great, but good. Could get the run going or make him think we're going run and hit him with a Scary Terry play action. Got him. Oh, do we ever have him? Scary Terry! The 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown in overtime. And the pressure is on Mac Jones and the Bengals, and they crumble. Another Super Bowl for Washington. Another Super Bowl for RG3. Likely another Super Bowl MVP for RG3. I mean, Scary Terry might have had a pretty good stat line there. But, I mean, this is going to be the 20-year rebuild that stacks up against every 20-year rebuild. And I don't think every 20-year rebuild is going to be like this. I don't think it'd be a fun series to do. If every rebuild we do, we end up winning like 7, 8 Super Bowls. Right? We did the Colts rebuild. It took us 10 seasons with the Colts. We're making it look easy here with Washington. It took us 10 years to win 1 Super Bowl in our Colts 20-year rebuild. I think that this is going to age as like an anomaly. I think when we made the change to poach from the all-time coaching staff that Washington had during this time, to let Sean McVay call the plays, right? And then even late here to win this one. I think the argument is like, all right, we made the change defensively. Brought over Harbaugh, a veteran. No more for his special teams, but he comes in, runs the defense, and gives us a Super Bowl caliber defense late. Who's getting MVP here? Who are we going to give it to? Is it going to be RG3 again, getting another one? Good showing. 284, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Gibson, Bill with a rushing touchdown. I mean, you probably would give it to Scary Terry. I know it's a quarterback award. Sack and a half, Jalen Carter. That's what he does, play big during Super Bowls. Trey Amos with an INT. Happy for the rookie there. Terrell had a forced fumble. But I'd say you go 135 and 2 touchdowns. I think that's Scary Terry's Super Bowl MVP. And just in case, I hope it doesn't. I hope this is all just enjoying our stats and admiring our stats. Just under 63,000 career passing yards, 560 touchdowns, is yet to throw 100 INTs. Also, if we're adding in, we got almost 3,000 yards rushing and another 26 touchdowns. So that's, almost 66,000 yards, almost 600 career touchdowns. Honestly, one more year, if we're taking the rushing touchdowns into effect, we could technically, Tom Brady probably has rushing, the QB sneak touchdowns. So no one's ever catching Tom Brady unless you glitch your guy so he doesn't retire. But if RG3, I'm going to make the argument RG3 would play till he's 42 or 43. He's not slowing down. I think we could catch him. Absolutely we could. Okay, we got a little bump in salary cap, but Dan Feeney retired. I don't think he did. I think we might be able to get one more year. One more year, baby. Now, we do have to replace our starting left guard, but I'd much rather do that than having to find a way to replace our starting quarterback. So we're going to decline the 5th-year option of Jalen Carter because we're going to get ahead of that. Oh, Bosa just started figuring it out, and we could bring him back. There's just something wrong about, he's not earned it. If that was a 74 rated, we'd be like, you know what? He's pretty solid for a 74. But the fact that he's been, one of the highest rated and hasn't sniffed double-digit sacks since we brought him in. Well, twice. Looked a little bit good there. But it says he's just been, a solid pass rusher. Do you pay a solid pass rusher, $30 million a year? I think it sets our rebuild up for the better if we kind of save that money for other positions and go with Abdul Carter as our premier pass rusher going forward. We're going to target names, maybe bigger names than what they've kind of panned out in this resim. We got Trey McBride coming in at tight end. It's obviously, one of the best tight ends in the league right now, IRL. A little bit different here, 26.79 normal dev. Then we're going to get Leo Chenal to come in. We need a Mike linebacker, 25.77. Got him in a really, really reasonable deal. Nick Bosa, the big loss. He is off to the Patriots. Just out of curiosity, final mock draft has us taking Cassius Howell, edge rusher. Probably, honestly. We definitely need to be considering someone that can take Nick Bosa's spot. Don't necessarily want to say they have to be the next Nick Bosa. So we pick 32 in the 2026 NFL Draft. Our needs, there's 2 picks it can come down to. We have Sonny Styles here at linebacker. We do need a linebacker. And Sonny Styles definitely in the argument for a blue chip type player. But I think the addition of Leo Chenal he would definitely be the most upside linebacker we'd have on the roster. And it could be a future kind of move. But we need right now a pass rusher. And I think TJ Parker still being on the board. High ceiling pass rusher from Clemson. B power, C finesse, B tackle. Pretty good athlete, elite, change of direction, acceleration, agility, great, goods. I think this might need to be the pick here. TJ Parker, 65. No, at least we get a depth trait. Got a high ceiling there. So we kind of lucked into a linebacker picker. Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas. A little bit of a free fall. A-zone coverage, C-tackle, first, 4.46 speed. This is very much the rich get richer. Number 50 in true value at 64, but we get a demonstrate freak of nature linebacker. So take a look at our draft recap. Feel pretty good. Ignore the long snapper rating. We got Barry and Brown, 71 normal in the 5th round, but big time speed, 98 speed. Delp, 70 normal. Moses is a 70 normal. We get Husky. We need to add some depth into our safety room. By getting Anthony Hill at the ascent of the 2nd round, 73 dev trait linebacker is immense value. TJ Parker, 72 is a little low, but I mean, for, again, ascent of the 1st round, a 72 dev trait pass rusher, you're not going to complain too much about that. So as we go defend our Super Bowl, here's a look at our team going into year 16. We add Trey McBride to tight end. We're going to go with Coleman here at left guard. Everything else ready to run it back. A couple homegrown guys here, that left-hand side of the offensive line. Good enough to win a Super Bowl. The offense, RG3 has regressed down to a 91. It's kind of that find that balance because he just won the MVP. He's also 36, so there is going to be some regression. I feel like 91 still a fine spot for him to be at. Obviously, you got Diggs, you got Scary. How old Diggs? Diggs got to be getting up there. Going to be a 30? 32! So, I mean, we got a bunch of names here that we're watching. Could this potentially be the end? Defensively, I expect that defensive front to be beast. The addition of Hill, Parker, Chenal to the front 7, I think, is going to be a big get. We still got Peppers playing the best football of his career. He's also getting up there in age a little bit at 30. But he leaves his secondary. That's going to be very, very good. Yet again, I expect Furley. Top 5 offense, top 5 defense. I shit you not, boys. Look at this. All right, so like we 1-1, going to Pittsburgh. Oh, 50 bomb. Not bad. Always use that to kind of kick the offense going early in the year. 7 touchdowns for RG3. The GOAT. How many more records is he going to get? And to get that at 36 years old. Now, mid-season record's not crazy. 4-3 on the season, kind of winning some, losing some. We got another RG3 Player of the Week performance going into the bye. This is where we want to look at our contracts. And I'm hoping not paying Nick Bosa is going to work out. As we look at our players, I mean, we have to start with... That is insane. But we got to make it work. What do you mean you're on the fence about 100? I can't... We got to get him signed before we can look at anybody else. 1 year, $100 million, I guess, is the going rate on a quarterback that ages better. Like the best of wines. So, getting him locked in, we now only have, well, we still have actually an insane amount of salary cap. So, Jalen Carter, come on down. You're locking you in for the rest of the rebuild. I did think it would get to a point. Okay, we got Schriff on the offensive line. Let's get him on a 2-year, make him a 1-club player. Now, there would come a point that when we had to pay... let's see, Terrell, no interest there. Stromberg's been a solid starting tight end for us. Something like a 3-year. Something like that. Try to keep as much as the affordable offensive lineman pieces here together as we can. Martin is our current starting free safety. There we go. Budgets. Sometimes all about the little budget guys. I think we could probably do better than Gibson, but can we do better than Gibson over the next 2 years? At that price point, that's not too bad. We have money to burn. Now, the question is, Stefon Diggs, do we make sure he's a 1-club player? Takes quite a hit. He wants to stay. Why not, man? Let's let them just, as a trio, the greatest trio in history. Stefon Diggs, Scary Terry, RG3. So maybe our first sign of like we're slowing down a little bit, a 10-7 record, which to our standards is certainly a little bit on the low end. Number 2 offense, number 3 passing offense, defense almost top 10 as far as points allowed. Runner up in the NFC East. Everyone was kind of down though. Like our 10-7 record, if you're excluding the Eagles, looks pretty dang good, all things considered. RG3 is an ageless wonder. I don't know if we're going to win MVP. Looks like Jordan Love there had a pretty good season. 3rd in yards, 2nd in touchdowns. But that's still just insane that is a stat line from, probably the oldest starting quarterback in the league by a decent amount. Gibson goes over 1,000 yards. First year that Scary Terry gets under 20 touchdowns. 1,600 yards, almost 20. 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns for Diggs. Luke McCaffrey was solid. Trey McBride was fine. Defensively, we got 12 sacks, Abdul Carter, 8 from the rookie TJ Parker, but not really. We're expecting a lot more out of Vita Vea and Jalen Carter than what we got there, and our INT numbers aren't particularly good either. streak is over. There's another quarterback in town. Congrats to Jordan Love. Did, however, have TJ Parker win Defensive Rookie of the Year with the brother Terrell, runner-up for the Eagles. Hill making top 3. RG3 still wins Quarterback of the Year. For the first time he's entered the league, it is the first time that Terry McLaurin hasn't won both Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. That goes to Christian Kirk. Looking at the numbers, RG3 with this season has gone over 600 career passing touchdowns. And we have 177 for Scary Terry. He's getting close to Jerry Rice. What's Jerry Rice? 197, I think? 197. So I think there's a pretty good shot we're going to see maybe one of Jerry Rice's records crumble. And if somehow, I guess if RG3 plays another season or two, we probably need 2 years to catch Tom Brady. Or one insane season. But I don't know. We'll see. But if you like last year, year 15 was kind of our Cinderella magical run. This year, kind of getting the vibes that the end is near. But you never know. We will see. They got to earn it, though. I'm not going to hop it. We backpacked a little bit too much in the last playoff run, which I don't have any problem with every now and again. But this year, I got to see if my team still has it. They still have the cojones to nut up in the fourth quarter and win some tough, tight playoff games. Just had a turnover. Luckily, defense holds them to a field goal. And we're going to be able to see this one out, I think. 7-point victory. Got a little sweaty near the end, but 34-27, the Commanders dumped the Bears. And our playoff journey continues on the back of a pretty stellar performance there from RG3. We meet the 10-7 Rams in the divisional round. It feels like when you're an old team like this, man, we would have really benefited from having that first round bye. The more games that you have a chance of weird things to happen, you know, they could tend to happen. I want to eliminate that possibility. But we're off to a hell of a start here, man. Kind of belt the ass in the Rams. And spoiler, we did a mock draft live stream yesterday. Shout out to everybody that came and hung out for a little bit. And it was decided, we threw a little Madden in there, what team we should do next for our 20-year rebuild. And we're playing them. I think a St. Louis Rams rebuild, what they stayed in St. Louis, sounded pretty interesting. They have a really interesting roster. So that will almost certainly, unless someone can come in the comments here today and absolutely persuade me, I think we're going to be doing a St. Louis Rams rebuild. Unfortunately for them, old man RG3 still has, we're still, you know, cooking with fire here. 40 bomb. Then we do us another Super Bowl appearance is the 9-8 Seattle Seahawks. A very well-built defense, a top 10 defense, 91 rated. And they have a what-if scenario. We decided not to go Chase Young. He's had a very nice career for Seattle. But again, just to narrate, is this the final RG3 game? Or we got to get one more Super Bowl before he potentially decides to ride off into the sunset as the GOAT? Low-scoring game, man. What defense wants some more? Couple field goals for the good guys. Touchdown. First touchdown goes. I mean, 20 points, you got to win this. It'd have to be an epic fourth quarter class for us to blow this. Just not enough time, unfortunately. Not a good second half, but good enough to get back in the Super Bowl. 17-14. The Commanders have done it. And this run, this legendary, iconic run continues. TJ Parker winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. He takes a jump from star up to superstar. The rich, definitely getting richer here. Absolutely deserved, man. He had a hell of a year. And that was the right pick for us at the ass end of the final pick of the first round. We get the 91 rated Cincinnati Bengals here in the Super Bowl. A little bit of a rematch going on here. I like to think they know us. Well, we know them. But I mean, we can't hop in. We're going to win another Super Bowl. At this point, we're just running the score up. I would like to think at some point we could beat this. This is now going to be the pace. There's going to be another rebuild where we make an even superior team. That's like, all right, remember the Washington rebuild? Well, we're even better than that. I feel like if I keep hopping in and playing, we're going to just get set an unattainable goal. We're going to win again. Like, no, what rebuild series that you're planning on doing potentially all 32 teams is going to peak and be impossible to reset personal best after the second rebuild? I literally don't know how many Super Bowls this is, if I'm being honest. This 8? 7 or 8? It's got to be in that range. And now, obviously, with the previous Super Bowls they have in franchise history, we are now undisputedly the greatest franchise in football history. And there is very easily, in perhaps his final game, another Super Bowl MVP for RG3. 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. There's no way he's retiring. Do it live here, live reaction in case he does. Fuck. It's the Stefon Diggs. Oh, maybe not, though. Stefon Diggs retired. No. No. They go together, Diggs. Oh, I don't think we looked at his final stats. I mean, Scary Terry's going to put up bigger, better numbers. We have to pay attention to one. But he was like 1,200 receptions. He actually might. We might be able to see it here. If we go here. Yeah, Stefon Diggs. 15,586 yards. 1,200 catches. Obviously, Scary Terry's on one for the touchdowns. RG3, 67,000 yards passing. 604 touchdowns. And I mean, you got to look no further than the legacy leaderboard. All time, it is not even close. 7 Super Bowls. 6 Super Bowl MVP. 7, I don't even know, 7 MVPs. 33 total. The GOAT. And, well, it's probably a placeholder until we catch up with Scary Terry. Stefon Diggs, the greatest wide receiver, maybe, since Jerry Rice. Sneak neither, Brendan Schriff retires after 12 seasons. And he is the GOAT at right tackle in this scenario. Well, we now have a massive need at wide receiver, too. We have a massive need at right tackle, and we do have Michael Penix, 73. I mean, we got to get a quarterback. I don't necessarily think we want to be seeing this one out. But the issue with this is we pick last, so there's not a lot of leeway for us to be aggressive and trade up. It's a good year. Everyone's probably going to be talking about this year being a good year for quarterback. Julian Sand, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Lenore Sellers is also available. If you want to look at wide receivers, you have obviously Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Ryan Wingo, Cam Coleman, Nick Harbor's there. If we want to look in the tackle discussion, you get Jordan Seaton, Trevor Gooseby, Brandon Baker. What to do? Maybe we get a good free agency roll. We have $276 million of salary cap. If there's good players out there, we could stand and bang with anybody to get their name signed on the dotted line. Do we have an insane amount of money? There's not really an insane amount of talent available at the positions we need. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. We got Tank Dell at wide receiver, 2784 with a dev trait. He'd be able to come in and give us some stability at wide receiver 2, which everything still goes through Scary Terry. I think that would work out. We got Freeland at one of the tackle spots. I need a left tackle and a right tackle. I can live with Freeland. 2678 ceiling for the final 4 years. Like, he could be mid-80s, mid-low 80s, which I'm fine with that being one of our starting tackles. Somehow he's available. Jaxson Dart, no dev trait in that, 2469. Baker Mayfield would be the other quarterback if we want to try to, but it's like $51 million again a year, which we could pay. Or you got Jameis Winston. I think we could still potentially go after a quarterback, but with our scheme. If we trust and believe in our scheme, we trust and believe that Scary Terry can elevate. Like if Jaxson Dart 1 year in our scheme, like I could see him just dev trait, like up a dev, it working out. If it doesn't work out, we are not paying a lot of money. We're not overpaying by any means. I think that could be kind of cool. We've already stolen Jalen Carter and Abdul Carter, just ripping off our own divisional teams. Why not get one more? So there we go. Jaxson Dart could be our successor to RG3. We'll find out. What? We didn't have we got hit with that bug where it didn't let me pick anybody. Literally, I have Baltimore's 6th round pick. Why is this happening? I'm gonna have to send this to the people that make the mod. It's happened twice. I don't know why it's happened. It's literally like we're so good that it's like punishing us this way. Well, fuck. I got Jude Bowery at tackle. We needed a left tackle. Probably have to dip into free agency to find a 1-year starter. Don't know. It's like the league's punishing us for winning too much, and they stripped all of our picks. So I guess it is clearly a bug that I am shocked happened again. We like telling a story here. Maybe, cheating allegations or something like that, right? We got hit with some sort of Patriot-esque, you win too much, you're cheating, we're taking all your picks. This kind of work. I mean, that works out in a way. Sam Cosmi was a challenge loss. He was our best pick one year. We could get him come in, play left tackle. All's right in the world a little bit. And to get a sign of confidence from our first training camp, Jaxson Dart has 2 little upgrade points here, so that's going to bring him up to a 71 rated. No idea what to expect, though, from him as our quarterback 1. I'm prepared to miss the playoffs, I'll put it that way. So after the league punishing us and stealing all of our picks, we were able to get Cosby at left tackle, Freeland at right tackle. The O-line, definitely, though, it's like, this is definitely not looking like the same sexy high-level team that we've had, but we know we have the best wide receiver in the league. Gibson gets a late dev trade increase in his career from star to superstar last season. Massive questions about the quarterback room. We're going to be going with Jaxson Dart. Hopefully Tank Dell can get some of that Stefon Diggs production and pick that up. Defensively, still feel pretty good with the defense, though. Vita Vea, Jalen Carter, Abdul Carter, the reigning defensive rookie of the year, and TJ Parker. Peppers is still an absolute beast. Terrell is still an absolute beast. We got a lot of depth at corner. Our secondary is one of the best in the league. So I think we absolutely have a Super Bowl caliber defense. Offensively, though, that's where all the question marks are at here in year 17. Going rough. 2-5. Yeah, I mean, we got Saber still here at corner. We'd like to keep it. We have so much money. So literally, it's like anybody that's good, you're going to stay. We have Vita Vea. Let's lock you in for the rest of the rebuild. 3. Oh, everyone's pissed off now. Everyone wants to leave. We don't finally 1 year that we're not winning everything. And all the fellas are like, I don't know. What do you mean we're not going to just automatically win the Super Bowl this year? I want to play for somebody else. We'll get Trey McBride locked up here for 3 years. We'll definitely come back and get Vita Vea figured out. We might as well keep Sam Cosmi on the offensive line. Lock him in for a 2-year deal. Come back for Sam Still and Vita Vea. Hopefully be super aggressive again next offseason. Free agency. I roast my team for being 2 wins. We go against Philly, beat the Eagles, and get offensive and defensive player of the week. So the potential is there. It just might take a year to kind of rebuild ourselves back up. Below 500. What else are you expecting for the year? We have, we just lost the greatest quarterback of all time. Didn't have a succession in place. B, we didn't have a single fucking pick in the draft. C, we have $250 million of available cap worth of talent we just don't have in comparison to the other competitors. But I think there was some good news. Look at Jaxson Dart. Look at Scary Terry. Scary Terry McLaurin gives us Jaxson Dart 3rd. That we trust the scheme. Now, there is a chance he threw too many picks to go up. There's no way he won't go up at least a dev trade. There's no way. We get 8 skill points here. I'm going to make him a perfect scheme fit. I'll go through that in a second here. But there's no way he's not at least going up to a star dev. Even with that amount of picks. I refuse to believe that. Scary Terry, Tank Dell came in almost 1,000 yards. Not bad. Definitely want way more production at Trey McBride. That's frustrating. But Scary Terry's disgusting. That is disgusting, sir. Look at the defense. I think Abdul Carter had oh man, look at the pass rush. Out of nowhere, we got 20.5 sacks, Abdul Carter, 19.5 from TJ Parker, 10.5 Jalen Carter, 7 from Vita Vea. INT's not the best, but finally our defense is putting it all together. And for Scary Terry, he has passed the legendary Jerry Rice for the most touchdown catches in a career. What a legend. Really, no sign of slowing down. He's going to be here for the whole rebuild. I don't think he's going to retire. So we are on almost 15,000 yards. And if he keeps, hey, he's played better. Who knows? He could get 30 touchdowns next season. Won't believe it. Didn't get a dev trade for Jaxson Dart. Threw too many picks. And we gave with the quarterback regression there a little bit. Fuck. All right, well, he plays well. Dev trade or not, but that's very frustrating. I think you do feel pretty good about the team going into this offseason. Man, it would have felt a lot better if Jaxson Dart hit his dev trade. But, the offensive line is solid, right? We have so much money that there's, an insane lineman. We could go get one. I think also could be said for wide receiver. If there's a crazy wide receiver and we have to relegate Tank Dell to wide receiver 3, that is a good problem to have. Defensively, Vita Vea is at that age, just losing dev traits because he's kind of an old man at this point, but I feel good, really, really good about our pass rush, obviously. Jabril Peppers also getting hit with the I'm old, so I'm losing dev trait, but our secondary still on point. Really just BPA, I guess, with over $200 million in salary cap available. Hey, boy, let me tell you, not much there. Like a wide receiver, there's just like some, not necessarily, guys that are going to severely improve the team. Look at the offensive line. Like, do we got any franchise players that are going to be peaking over the next 2-3 seasons that could? Nope, not really. Defensively, our D-line, our pass rush is good. Linebacking core, there's not much. Secondary, you got Keely Ringo if you want to try to turn that career around. Kalen Bullock, is he have a dev trade? I think because we have so much money, all due respect to Mr. Jatavius Martin, let's try to get Kalen Bullock here. I think that'd be a good addition to our safety room. Everybody else, appreciate your service. Now take a look at the final mock draft. This is our final draft class of real college players. We are, well, I mean the good news is that we don't have to look into the 20s. Got to pick a little bit earlier than that. We actually have picks this year. We're picking at 14. Currently expected to look at Malik Outry, a potential Vita Vea successor. A lot of tackles are going. I mean, we're really just BPA again. There's not really any player I'm worried about. One position we need to reach for. Let's see what the board looks like at 14. Might be this. Decorian Moore, wide receiver, discipline, B catching, B release, B catching traffic, 4.3 speed. I don't think Tank Dell's going to be our Stefon Diggs. You know what I'm saying? I think Tank Dell could be a great player. I think Decorian Moore could be that. Believe we got a face scan as well. Excellent job on this mod. Look at that athletic profile. And he's a hell of a run blocker as well. Look at this guy, Paul Mubenga, guard from LSU, B pass block, B run block, doesn't get penalized too much. I think interior offensive line, we could go for players with higher ceiling, 72 in true value, possibly the dev trade, very nice, 89 strength. Good athlete too. It is never too early to look for a Vita Vea replacement. We have Marquise Deal, TCU, 8 tackle, 325 pounds, first place bench press at his pro day, an absolute powerhouse, a top 50 talent. Come on down. So it felt freaking great to have draft picks again. Absolutely. We got another, nice little running back here, Jordan Marshall from Michigan, to add some depth. But Deal 73, understudy for Vita Vea. Mubenga, we do have Coleman there, but he does have a higher ceiling with a dev trait, so we'll see how that kind of plays out. But Decorian Moore, 78 rated wide receiver. Knowing our offense, this guy's going to be a problem, man. He is such a beast. One of my favorite wide receivers in college football. Here's our team looks like going into year 18, expecting big things from Decorian Moore. Maybe it doesn't all have to be Scary Terry, but I'm also not against Scary Terry, just continuing to put up big-time video game numbers to close this rebuild out. See if we can get another Jerry Rice record. That'd be kind of cool. Defense, back on point, especially last year, finding just an insane, overpowered pass rush to pair with our secondary. I mean, if Jaxson Dart just turns the football over a little less, we should comfortably be a playoff team here. It's looking better. Those ratings are kind of weird. Jaxson Dart's at least playing well. He's not the reason why our ratings look weird. 5-2 on the year. We have Jaxson Dart 3rd in passing. Scary Terry 1st in receiving. Look at some contracts here. Abdul Carter, that pretty much blank check. Here you go. We have Terry McLaurin. You are not going anywhere. Blank check. Here we go. We have Trey Amos, developed very nicely for us, so we'll lock you in for the rest of the rebuild. Nice man cover corner. Tank Dell. I think the argument's going to be we're not going to be able to find a better wide receiver 3 for the rest of the rebuild, so we'll figure out what will make him happy to get that locked in. I'd love to see Jabril Peppers finish out this whole rebuild. He's going to have an insane amount of tackles if he does. Gibson in the backfield. Again, another argument to be made. I probably am not going to find a better running back than that, and he's playing his best football now late in his career. Freeland at tackle. I think we just go 1-year rental there. We have so much salary cap, though. There's somehow a superstar tackle hits. We can still go out there and get them. So, yeah, very, 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 very good business so far, and we'll come back and make sure we sign in Tank Dell. Okay, we went 13. The team figured it out from doing nothing to, we lost to the Rams, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles. So Philly's kind of had our number, but everybody else got thumped. I think this is just a clear, our team's really good. Last year was just a figure-it-out year. And then we get to play a not great schedule this season. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got an easier schedule, didn't play the biggest dogs. And we kind of parlayed that into a 1 seed. Jaxson Dart, second in yards. Did he cut down on the picks? He did. That's 11's fine. He should certainly go up dev trade here this season. Run game was complimentary. Scary Terry, slow it down maybe just a little bit. Didn't get 2,000-yard receivers. Moore was solid. Tank Dell was solid. And I mean, you know, are we really complaining about almost 2,000 yards receiving and 16 touchdowns? We already have the touchdown record, so like I'm cool with let's get big yards. Let's prioritize yards and receptions and see if we can make Jerry Rice sweat a little bit. Defensively, pass rush still on point. 17.5 sacks, Abdul Carter. 14, TJ Parker. 9.5 from Jalen Carter. And the ageless wonder, Jabril Peppers, leading the team with 3 INTs. Corian Moore gets Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's just a quick update what Scary Terry's been able to do, man. Disgusting. No signs of slowing down. Also, I think Jabril Peppers is worth. He's getting up there, man. Almost 1,500 tackles, 49 TFLs, 24 sacks, 27 picks, 83 PBUs, 10 forced fumbles. Certainly a Hall of Fame career. Vita Vea as well. He's getting up there in age a little bit. Over 100 TFLs and 100 sacks for the nose tackle. After getting a first-round bye, we meet the Eagles, who 2-0'd us in the regular season. We get our first taste of Washington Jaxson Dart playoff football. And we felt like at times RG3 was willing our team to victory. And we could trust RG3 that if we needed a fourth-quarter comeback, he would get it. No idea what to expect with Jaxson Dart, but it'd be pretty livid to be we're getting belt-assed here. 3-0'd against the Philadelphia Eagles this season. And that looks like that is the case, man. Unless we can get, again, if we had RG3, we'd probably feel pretty good. Can we come back? Down 14. We made it close, but we ran out of juice. The Eagles defeat us 3 times in 1 season. Damn. Not Jaxson Dart's fault, though. He had a hell of a game. Josh Allen it's about time. Josh Allen's like, all right, no more RG3. It's time for me to start being good. I'm the guy now. I'm glad we honored his stats by looking at it, because Vita Vea retires after 11 seasons, which means Jalen Carter has to step up. He is that dude at D-tackle, and, you know, not a bad position to need to go get a player now that we're into Madden-generated classes. Should be able to find a couple D-tackles that look good. Now, for us, look at the team. Scary Terry keeps his X-Factor. We get the dev trade on Jaxson Dart. Unfortunately, we lose the superstar on Gibson, but gain a superstar on Corian Moore, I believe, for getting Rookie of the Year. He already was a superstar. Okay, my apologies. Okay. Well, we could probably actually go with the dev trade here in Mubenga. Defensively, Samer still goes from star up to superstar. That's about it. Defense looks good. Healthy defense. Super Bowl caliber defense. And I said if there was going to be an upgraded tackle, I would go get it. And that is exactly what we found in Paris Johnson Jr. 86 star dev right tackle. There is our upgrade. Also, just for shits and giggles, we're pretty much stealing every fun player within the division, recreating history here. Why not get Cam Scadabos once and add him to the backfield there with Antonio Gibson to complement one another. Then I just got this guy, Jack Kelly, BYU linebacker, because we have no starting will. Before draft, we are really in BPA. We do actually have a couple quarterbacks. I feel like we should believe in Jaxson Dart here a little bit. I mean, this guy, Matthew Tyson, love the name. Probably pretty good. You know what? I'm going to say just because there's no other pressing needs, because I found some D tackles and they're going to be late round picks. Grab just another option at quarterback here. Tyson, 38 in true value, pick 28. Has a dev trade, has some upside to his game. Our nose tackle, Cheese. I mean, we got Deal last year. He's also a nose tackle. I think Norris here also will be able to come in, add some compliment. A little bit more athletic. 4'8'9". Big time bench press. Top 15 player. Yep. Then we just got this guy in corner. JP Loss. A-press, A-catching, B-zone. Disciplined player. Rarely gets flagged. Not a plus athlete, but I just think there's immense value there. 76 in true value at 92, but he does have a high ceiling. Excited to see what he can do. We're now like the 4th, 5th round. How is this guy falling? Corey Fullerton, a deep route running, 4.29 speed. I refuse to believe this guy sucks. Oh, you got him at the right time. Now, I'll take a 9.9 speed wide receiver. Gamble that we can make it work. White Lightning here at A&M. So take a look at our draft recap. Ooh, got a nice 75 long snapper. Telling you right now, the only thing you need to know when you get a long snapper, just get the heaviest one. The heaviest one tends to be the highest rated. Don't know why, just trust me. Fullerton, 67, 99 speed. We got Romero, 72 normal running back. Laws, 71 dev trade corner. I think he's going to be very good. Norris, 77 overall nose tackle with a dev trade in the second round. Can't really brag too much. Nose tackle cheese is a problem. We just took advantage of it, but not back into 74 dev trade quarterback here. In case Jaxson Dart doesn't work out, or we at least got a plan B. Especially, like, what if we find out this guy's dev trade is pretty good? We know our scheme, we trust our scheme, we trust our system. It gives us, insurance at quarterback. Year 19, this is how everything is lining up. I feel a lot better about our offense. Being able to invest our money in free agency to get a problem solver to make our offensive line look a little bit better there. And Paris Johnson in free agency, that felt pretty good. Scatterville gives us a good 1-2 punch. We have an option at quarterback in case Jaxson Dart just for some reason sucks. I'm not expecting that to happen. We go and get an absolute stud at D-tackle. We get a corner that could be very special. And we have a great mix of veteran, experienced players that have been a part of our team, know what it takes to win a Super Bowl. And we have our upside, might have the best pass rusher in the league now here in Abdul Carter. Year 19, year 20 to close this out. I definitely think we have a good opportunity to win at least one more Super Bowl. Midseason 3-3. Don't love that. It's pretty random. Now, for us, the lock-in players we want for the full rebuild, we'll get TJ Parker. We want him to stay at. We want, obviously, AJ Terrell to finish as a commander. Jamin Davis, a what-if bust. We made into an X-Factor linebacker. Very, very solid. Anthony Hill, value pick. Can't believe he fell to us in the second round when he did. Meinert's on the offensive line. Done no wrong. Keep you at guard. Stromberg's kind of been a guy for us at center. Homegrown talent that ended up working out. Might as well keep Braden Mann here as well. Decent punter. The good news is we were able to make the playoffs. The bad news, we barely made the playoffs. We go 9-8. We lost 2 in a row to finish out the year. Nothing really looks that impressive with our team. Scary Terry still, not video game numbers. He's now at, I don't know what he is, 32 years old, just putting up elite numbers. Jaxson Dart, we might need to see what the dev trade is here on Matthew Tyson here for a final year, because that's not what we need to see. Scary Terry crushed it. Happy with that. 1,300 yards. Another 15 touchdowns. Defensively, our pass rush still good. Maybe not as good as it has been. Obviously, TJ Parker, that's like half the amount of sacks he's been getting. Jalen Carter with a nice campaign. INT numbers, not the best, but Jabril Peppers was second, I think, in the league in total tackles, so that's cool. I'll be honest, going to this wild card round, we are giving the impression of a team that's going to be one and done. We're just not having crazy play from Jaxson Dart. We're not even we're having barely good play. But look at our defense only giving up field goals. First touchdown of the game goes to the good guys. Maybe we could scratch and claw. Maybe we'll be that team that no expectations, even though we have that pedigree, that we can just go on and figure it out. It's looking like a nice little home victory. Get out of this. Get out of this. We already got this one across the line. 21-6. Shout out the defense. Coming up huge in that one. Shout out Jaxson Dart for, keeping us in that game and having actually a really good game out-dueling Jaden Daniels. Back at home in the divisional round. Not too optimistic. It almost feels like it's going through us here in the playoffs. The 9-win team gets 2 home playoff games, but here we go. The Detroit Lions, cursed franchise, whoever you want to break that. Another team that probably be pretty interesting to do for a 20-year rebuild, given their lack of success, but they are shutting us out. And with our season on our line here, man, only getting 3 points certainly adds some noise to if we are going with the right quarterback. You have 1 year left of the rebuild. Is Jaxson Dart going to give us the best chance, or do you go with the mystery box quarterback? Damn it. Oh, I was hoping Jabril Peppers and Scary Terry would go the full rebuild. Year 19, after 13 seasons, Jabril Peppers hangs it up. 1,500 tackles. Far and away, in this world, the greatest strong safety of all time, and it's not even close. He's the Tom Brady of strong safeties. But the decision for us, the backup quarterback, I was going to be honest, if it was a superstar ever, something like that, it'd make it a little more interesting. I just don't know if going with the 76 star dev quarterback is going to spark the offense more than going with the 79 quarterback. I think we just go with Jaxson Dart again, right? We're trying to look at, like, where can we get better? Left tackle. If there's, like, a sick upgrade at tight end, there's no way there's going to be an upgrade. Look, we got Scatabo now will be our, with Gibson regressing down to an 81. Scatabo, 87 running back. So I'd say left tackle, maybe tight end to see if we can get a little bit more out of that position. We feel good about our D-line. We feel good about our pass rush. We need a safety. Laws, the quarter, superstar depth quarter, let's go. So a safety, tackle, tight end. That's what we're looking for in free agency here for the final year of the rebuild. Unfortunately, there's no upgrade at tight end. There's no upgrade at safety. I'm almost wondering if I move one of my corners to safety. See if any of them have any good tackling. Well, there is a upgrade at tackle. Membu, 26. I'm literally going to give you a discuss, like, just take it. I don't need it. I will reset the market. Don't care. Take this money. Join my team. You're the final piece. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to move Saber still. 71 tackle. He's going to safety. You got that dog in him. He can play safety. I mean, we're just at a spot right now. Let's go BPA. And we got one of them guards. If you played it up bad and you know. You see 46 reps in an A run block on a guard. And he actually may be able to start. What do you mean, the draft class? You better fucking let me pick that guy. Classic final. It's the mods. Our final draft is glitched, so it wouldn't let me make any picks. Did I at least get Morrison? Nope. Alrighty. Well, we still had, I mean, this is a sim draft here. We get a 76 normal corner, a 70 normal wide receiver, a 75 dev trait guard here in Bo Darby. But I bet you that guard that we tried to pick, Morrison, would have been better than all these picks. And he is 83. 83, yep, the number one player in the class, 98 strength. And from a dev trait perspective, fuck you, game. Come on. It's been 20 long seasons. Not a lot of familiar names, right? I mean, I love the addition of Membu at left tackle. Really gives us one of the best offensive lines in the league, for sure. But, you know, that's the point. You get to year 20, it's like, all right, we got Scary Terry. Cool. You know, he's running. He's 96. He's X Factor. He's going down as one of the greatest of all time. And I imagine if he played till he was 40 like Jerry Rice, he would take all his records. Defensively, you know, we've had Jalen Carter for a minute. We've had Abdul Carter for a minute. Jamin Davis running the rebuild. Sam Still Amos. AJ Terrell, one of our leaders on the defense. 93 superstars. We get a couple guys here that have been a part of the RG3 years. And we got one final chance to pad our stats and add another Super Bowl win to this rebuild here in year 20. Let's go. Can Jaxson Dart be that guy? Wow, really? 13-4. Great record. 93 defense on full display. Look at the greens. We're back up in the greens. Very odd that doesn't get you a first round bye. The goddamn Panthers with Jaden Daniels. Knew that would come up at some point. Get the 1 seed. So we got to run the gauntlet. Look at our player stats. Jaxson Dart, well, again, just not RG3. Makes us appreciate RG3. Makes it so it's like, yes, we had McVay's scheme, but RG3 was RG3. Took it to another level. Scatabo, we got a run game for once. Caleb Scatabo, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. Scary Terry, 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns. Continuing to pile on to a legendary career defensively. We got great sack numbers. Carter, Jalen, Parker. Love it. INTs. AJ Terrell finishing his campaign, his rebuild off strong with 5 picks. Scary Terry back on his bullshit. A better late than never Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year award. Just to kind of tidy things up here. We already have some... Okay, well, you know, we've recreated history of this rebuild. Saquon Barkley is the greatest running back of all time. We have Scary Terry, touchdowns of all time. And as it relates for our franchise... just INT numbers are not really great in the sim. Every attainable award has been replaced. RG3, greatest quarterback. Alfred Morris, greatest running back. Scary Terry, greatest wide receiver, with a massive shout to Stefon Diggs when he was able to do. And Vita Vea, all-time sacks. But to try and win one last Super Bowl, we get Josh Allen and the Philadelphia Eagles, a bitter rivalry. We're pissed off, man. We think we should have a home field advantage. We should have the 1 seed. We went 13-4, but somehow Jaden Daniels and the Carolina Panthers did just enough. And why can't we beat the Eagles? Come on. Jaxson Dart, still 2 point. You know, just get hot in the second half, buddy. All right, okay, we got a chance. Jaxson Dart's just not him. Fuck. He just was never him. That's we just never had that guy. I also think that draft class where it was just like, boom, here you go, no picks. That came at the worst time fucking possible. But we closed this thing out, man. I mean, looking at our team quickly, just, you know, it's not really a lot of players that were here during our peak, but, oh, Scary Terry retired. That's how you know it's the perfect time to end the rebuild. You know, I mean, we did a lot of good things, a lot of great things. AJ Terrell's the old head now, back there in the defense. The pace has been set. We have, when all is said and done, we won the 2026 Super Bowl. We won the 2025 Super Bowl. We won the 2022 Super Bowl. 2021 Super Bowl. 2019 Super Bowl. 2018 Super Bowl, 6. 2017 Super Bowl, 7 Super Bowls. In one rebuild. All the MVPs. Shout out RG3. I mean, this is how you do it. Let's obviously Shanahan, I don't know how old he actually would be right now. Let's just look here, right there, all time. That is the signature of this rebuild. The only reason why we did Washington as our second 20-year rebuild here in our lovely modded rebuilds is the what if RG3 situation. And boy, oh boy, did we fucking answer that here today. Now, let me know in the comment section below what you guys want to see next. Again, I think we talked about it during our last little live stream. I think the St. Louis Rams, like that whole thing, seems incredibly interesting. But please, please, please let your voices be heard in the comments below. What team you want to see next for a 20-year rebuild? We're going to have a little bit better pacing for uploads, right? Because we have the Yetis. These videos take me like 4 days to record. So I'm losing 3 to 4 uploads when I decide it's time to go 20-yard rebuild. So we have the Yetis. That's going to be coming up. The menu delay, the menu lag that was just plaguing Madden on franchise mode on console has been fixed. So we're going to start firing up realistic rebuilds. I'm actually probably going to start working on that tonight. That's going to be a Jags realistic rebuild up next. But let me know down below what you want to see after our Rams rebuild for the next 20-year rebuild team. If this is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button. You're not going to be able to see these modded franchise rebuilds anywhere else here on YouTube. Spread the love. You know, someone that doesn't really know about the channel but would be into this content, definitely spread the word. Hit that like button, leave a comment if you just want to help out the video with the YouTube algorithm. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.